George, you're a connoisseur of beverages. Would you say so? As you open another carbonated beverage. Well, gentlemen.
Cheers. Oh.
Have you ever had full-fat Coke with salted peanuts in it?
No.
I have not.
Say less. Take a glass.
Okay.
Take a Coke. Take a peanut. So, there's a viral tweet that goes out. About 30 years ago, I read in a Haruki Murakami essay that in America, it's popular to drink cola with peanuts in it. I just went, huh. And a long time passed since then, but I finally tried it. What the hell is this? It's ridiculously delicious. No kidding. It's at a level where I don't want to drink cola any other way anymore. So we are going to drink.
Have you before? Or are we going to find out?
I saved this. I saw that and I've been edging myself with fucking cola and peanuts since then.
Is there an order you have to
Peanuts
do this
first?
I think...
Shit.
That's crazy, right?
Peanuts first. Peanuts first seems more insane.
Yeah, it's like cereal.
I've blown my load early. Hold on.
Okay. Peanuts in Coke is the most accidentally perfect food pairings in history. The chemistry explains why this guy can't go back. Coca-Cola sits at pH 2.5, roughly the same acidity as stomach acid. What's awful about it?
We need to show the camera what this looks like. It does not look as good as that.
But look at how much it's fizzing. Anyway, there's a load of signs. Salt on the peanuts suppresses the bitter taste receptors on your tongue, which amplifies your perception of the sweetness you can without adding a single gram of sugar. The carbonation does two things. CO2 dissolved in liquid forms carbonic acid, which wait. So I think we need to leave it. So we're gonna set this down. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it in like, I don't know.
Honestly, the original Coke like this alone
It's
already would have blown my mind.
Yeah.
I haven't had, have you had this? This is Kratom. This is actually Kratom.
Yeah.
Jared, you need this. Don't forget.
You're gonna have a high potency on yours unless you fill it up.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is you're a connoisseur of beverages, especially sparkling ones. This is my.
Should we take a starter sip?
No, I think we wait. We wait. We're gonna wait for a little bit and then come back to it.
And this doesn't get you high or anything?
Well, no. It's the only thing that you're interested in.
He's no longer interested.
No, I'm interested in other things as well.
Okay. All right.
So what does it do?
Question. Who do you think is the highest paid athlete of all time?
I know the answer to this.
Okay. Well, don't.
1 year, all time?
All time. Who's the highest paid athlete?
Michael Jordan.
Ronaldo, Messi, they come to mind.
Michael Jordan will be second.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods, third.
Joey Chestnut.
Arnold Palmer, Bonnie Blue, actually, is probably an it depends what kind of sport you're talking.
Yeah. Per competitor.
It's real endurance.
Can I throw in a guess out there?
Yeah.
There was a Roman chariot racer who allegedly made over $1 billion.
Correct.
You owe Perlman because you just predicted what he was going to say.
A history teacher.
Yeah.
Well, Kratom does crazy things to your mind.
Gaius Apuleius Diocles. So Michael Jordan has earned 1.8 billion. Tiger Woods, 1.7 billion. Arnold Palmer, 1.4 billion. Jack Nicklaus, 1.2 billion.
Oh, it was 15 billion.
$15 billion in today's money. He basically won 35,863,120 sesterces. By some estimation, over $15 billion in 2011.
And that's pure income from the sport. So I assume because back then there's probably no sponsorships.
No sponsorship.
Not a shoe deal.
Hashtag ad. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Like a shield deal.
Yeah. I wonder who could have offset his Bodicea budget.
Wow.
15 billion, dude. And the tweet says, "Eat shit, Michael Jordan, you broke bitch."
Yeah, I think I saw that same thing. That's why I knew that.
That's what I've contributed. That's what I've contributed.
You did kind of ruin it by knowing the answer, but we'll let that slide.
Wow.
No.
Do we have a photo of this guy? Because
just search that dude, Jared. The fucking Gaius Apuleius Diocles. I'm sure you can spell that.
Because it's fascinating coming from the UK to the US and seeing how Europe is kind of criticized as being like a socialist place and the US is seen as this capitalist place. Meanwhile, our sports are way more capitalist, and I still don't understand how US sports work, where you have, because I went to go and watch a Miami Heat game and I searched the guy's salaries, and one guy's on like 50 million, and then the rest are on like his entire salary combined, which is absurd.
And he can't make more than that. It's capped, which is un-American, right?
But yeah, why? And then you have the whole like draft at the end of the season where whoever finished last gets rewarded the most. Like it's the most un-American thing.
It's a very communist approach to this.
Yeah.
All right, should we drink this Coke?
Okay, let's go.
It's been staring at me. All right, cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Fucking
Cheers.
fuck that, mate. Fuck that.
Sweet and salty.
Tastes quite a lot like Coke.
Yeah,
Should
tastes
I
like
eat?
Coke, but then I ate the peanuts.
Yeah. It's the
which was nice.
You know what it tastes like? Coke with peanuts.
Yeah. It did not change the flavor at all
No.
for me.
It's
Maybe we
less,
needed to let it sit longer.
It's less different. Maybe we need to.
I think it's more the aesthetic.
Oh, you think that this is an art piece?
Yes, like even if you made a
It looks like what
Like, this
happens
is
if you've
impressive.
eaten
Yeah.
too
If
much
I'm sitting
Mexican
next to you.
food.
yeah, if you had the best Michelin's yes.
It just looks so much like there's too much fucking.
Yeah, look,
I do enjoy chewing while drinking Coke, so that's good. That's a positive.
I'm gonna keep going with that.
Yeah, what if you, I mean, couldn't you choke on the peanuts? In
That's
theory?
always a risk.
Yeah.
I have a question for the group that I wanted to
Anybody
ask
got a
people on.
spoon for the
Bullish or bearish on certain trends. So I kind of want to know trends that are big right now in society or aren't big right now that you think should be bigger. So just give me things that people maybe particularly popular about right now that you think don't deserve to be, and vice versa.
Overpriced and underpriced.
Yeah.
Okay. What are things overhyped at the moment? I want to say AI, but then it's probably going to change the fucking world.
Mhm.
I just feel sick of hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of sick of hearing permanently about how it's going to be the end of everything or the beginning of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one that's in the middle. There's no one that's like, yeah, AI is pretty cool. It's people who are complete doomers or just like David Friedberg.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's only two ends of the barbell.
Mm.
But I would quite like AI to chill out a little bit in terms of everyone talking about it.
Well, I guess we've never lived through a mania like this. I guess the nearest one would have been the internet. Crypto with NFTs was a little bit, but it was
Oh,
different.
crypto with NFTs was fucking hard, dude. That would have been top of my list.
Mm.
But I think a lot of sensible people were skeptical about NFTs for sure, aspects of crypto. Whereas I feel like, AI right now, I mean, even the people who are doomers, they're not saying AI sucks. They're saying it's too powerful. It's either this is so powerful, life is going to be amazing, or this is so powerful, life is like over for us. And nobody really like, hey, this is just a flash in the pan. Like in the early internet, there's famous articles where it's like, the internet won't amount to anything. This is a fancy fax machine. There's articles you can go pull up now and mock people. I feel like with AI, we kind of all know.
What about you? What do you think?
Well, I'm getting really into metaverse real estate. It's the place. Now's the time to get in. So I'm buying up a lot of land. I've got a place next to Snoop Dogg.
This feels a little bit like kicking a dead body whilst it's on the ground and saying that you killed it. Do you know what I mean? You can't say the metaverse is overhyped when it's already dead. You know that Simpsons meme where it's like, stop, he's already dead.
Don't see you hanging a bored ape up in here, do you? So there you go.
Why don't you talk about your cryptos?
You know, here's actually a weird one that I did all right on that toad. Did all right on that toad, baby. All right. You can look it up on chain as well, actually. So there's no fraud there. There's no lies. You can verify my NFT activity, good sir. You know, one that I'm weirdly, because I was thinking about, there's lots of stuff you could say where it's almost trite, right? So you go, AI is going to change the world. And it's like most people will probably agree with that. So therefore, it's kind of a neutral statement. And I was thinking, well, what's cliched to be bearish on right now? And then what's the bullish take for that? Right. My two big ones are, number one, the mainstream media. I'm ridiculously bullish in the next 5 years on the power the mainstream media has, which is like it's kind of like don't go to college kind of statement, whereas it's kind of saying almost the opposite now of go to college. Mainstream media in particular, it's almost like they have the highest value audience in the world, because nobody I know listens to mainstream media, and that's kind of part of the joke, except Donald Trump, except Keir Starmer, except Macron. Like we was at dinner the other night, won't say who, but with somebody who used to work in the cabinet in the UK, and one of my favorite questions to ask people, apart from that question previously, is when you meet somebody who knows a lot about an industry, of you've worked in this thing for ages, what do like layman's like me just not appreciate that's really fascinating on the inside? And he paused for a while to answer the question about what it's like being inside number 10. And the thing he reiterated was how much of the conversation is shifted by what's on the BBC or what's on the Guardian. And you kind of see this with Trump a little bit now when he'll address, he'll know like each news
What is
reporter
name?
by name. And it's like, meanwhile, nobody reads this, nobody consumes this, but it still has such
He's
an
got
impact
little
on policy.
rivalries
Yes.
with, oh, that's such and such from the Lame Times or whatever. And I'm like, how the fuck?
Yes. And
Yeah.
and likewise, in number 10, the amount of reactionary time just goes to what's on the headlines that nobody's reading, really, apart from a few geriatric 65-year-olds. Therefore, it's kind of weirdly underpriced.
Well, there's always going to be prestige in the mainstream media because there's a limited amount of time and a limited amount of space. Anybody can make a YouTube channel, which is awesome and subversive and rebellious and whatever. But also, that means anyone can make it. So there's no prestige associated with doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 24 hours in the day on CBS. So if you get 15 minutes of that day, implicitly you're being given something. There's
Mhm.
a kind of prestige with it. That being said, has anyone ever watched Discovery Life? You ever seen Discovery Life? Discovery Channel Life?
No.
So I'm fucking training in the gym, and there's so many different TV screens. Brand new gym. So apparently everybody needs to watch. It's like a 3-year-old playing Subway Surfer whilst watching TikTok at the same time. So fucking screens everywhere. And I'm looking over, and there's a lovely lady on TV, black lady, like nicely dressed, sort of floral outfit thing. And she is having one of her own fingernails extracted from behind her own ear. Like at 10 a.m. in the morning. Discovery Life is an American cable television network. The channel primarily focuses on reality programming dealing with life events. Its programming targets a female audience, blah, blah. It is fucking medical emergencies at 10 in the morning. And I'm watching this like 5-inch long pair of tweezers extract this very nice lady's fingernail from behind her own fucking eardrum. I'm like, I'm trying to do bicep curls. And it cut from that to the next one, and it was someone's ribs being punctured. Fucking 10:30 in the morning. Only in America would it be like healthcare's become basically a competitive sport now that you can fucking broadcast on the internet. So I don't know. I feel like this is the sort of thing you would have watched at an after party.
No, I've never seen that.
I had this realization, I'm trying to find it now, but I wrote about it ages ago, which was I was once similar to you in the gym working out, and the news was on, and it was just like, this number of people have died in Ukraine today. This number of people have died in Gaza today. And then take these pills. I was like, and I imagined it of like, if this was a bloke that was in the gym that was saying this, or it was a friend, I'd be like, I'm never speaking to you ever again. And it's like, when you begin to personalize it like that, it's just, you view it so differently.
Except it would be a guy that was shouting it to the entire room.
Yes.
He wouldn't even be saying it to you specifically. He'd just be saying, this black lady had her fingernail caught behind her eardrum. Do you want me to tell you about the lady that took it out of her?
Well, I work out at Planet Fitness, so we have people like that.
You've actually seen this happen live.
Yeah. There's like homeless people in there wigging out while we're all trying to get fit, and it's good motivation.
To be able
And
to
that's
run away
about
from
all
them.
it is. It's holy shit, I need to make more money and work out somewhere else.
Is it Planet Fitness, like with your membership comes like free pizza or something?
Dude,
like, there's
yeah,
a pizza
yeah.
slice
Yeah,
station at the gym?
Yeah, so you don't get the pills, but you do get a Tootsie Roll. It's embarrassing, dude. I need to get a different gym. Dude, it's interesting that you say that though about being bullish on mainstream media, because they've basically have hit the basement in terms of really everything. So there's no way you could think they're going to do worse, in my opinion.
You couldn't be more bearish.
Yeah, so you're correct.
Well, I'll give you on hitting the basement right now. One that I would buy the shit out of is the United Kingdom. Like everybody right now, the UK, literally, I think yesterday the news came out around, it's like the worst economic change in terms of the bond rating. Like the doom and gloom around the UK is so strong right now. But you just go, it's with a goat.
Hang on, are you going to say never bet against the UK?
No. Long term, yes. Long term, yes. Just from even if they do nothing, again, just from a pure IP perspective, like just what you have. Like I was getting in an argument today with Claude in the car. And sometimes I'll like bounce between Claude, ChatGPT, and Grok. That's my like hack.
That's like when one of your side pieces won't put out. You pivot to
Holy
another.
shit,
It's
that's
like,
accurate.
I went to Dad and he said no. Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I posed the question to Claude, and I'm interested to get your guys' take on this, of who's more impactful to the world, the Roman Empire or United Kingdom? And I think it's the United Kingdom, pound for pound. I think pound for pound, we're 1/3 the size of Texas. And like, who's managed to do this level of output that we've managed to do? Which is a very un-British thing to say.
Really living on fucking borrowed time, though, mate.
No, not really. Not really.
When was the last thing we did that was cool?
DeepMind. AI, like the whole AI industry comes out of essentially London.
How many people do you think know that?
This is it. We're basically the technical. The way of viewing UK to the US is like we're the technical guy that makes no money and comes up with all the ideas, and then these guys are just great at sales and marketing.
Yeah.
Like you can do AI, essentially the UK. You could do Tim Berners-Lee, the internet. You could do. I mean, I don't know if this is fully true, but because maybe he's such a genius that he thought this through. But Bitcoin white paper written in British English, the correct English.
Oh, come on. We don't know who he is.
We don't know who he is, but there's a little bit. There's a little bit of something there.
He's almost certainly Indian. Yeah.
But like, if you look at, if you want to keep going back, I always had this thing of if God had like top trumps of greatest country, and like each country tries to play their hand. The UK is a very tough one to compete with.
Very dwindling, though. Like when you think about what the market's trend is at the moment.
Newtonian physics still.
He's being on mainstream
working.
media
He's
too.
fucking 500 years old.
But I'm talking about the history of civilization, Roman Empire, what the Italians doing, but the Roman Empire still gets a lot of credit these days. But I just think, going back to the question, I'm bullish on the UK, just in terms of pure IP and impact on the world.
But bullish would suggest that you'd invest in it.
Yes.
What, with money?
I put it all into the metaverse. I've got the Snoop Dogg.
Metaverse, CNN.
Yeah.
Bridgerton.
Yeah.
What do you think about Claude?
What do you mean?
Do you like it?
The AI?
Yeah.
I personally think each different AI slightly different. So I'll use you might know if somebody's created this yet. What I want, and I kind of did this, but then I couldn't be bothered actually turning it into a product, which I just want a group chat where I can post something in there, they all reply, and then they roast one another back and forth in the replies. What's the best?
It's a GAN, isn't it? General Adversarial Network. That's what that's
Look
called.
at the big brain on Chris.
I know.
That was amazing.
Yeah, big fucking. That's it. Jim O'Shaughnessy's got it for his super crazy fucking AI thing, and he said, they can get all of the different models to argue with each other behind the scenes, and then whoever has the best answer for this one does it.
When you use Grok, they show it. So that if you use like heavy Grok or super Grok or whatever Elon calls it, you ask a question and Agent 1 pops up. He starts talking. I think what he wants to know is blah, blah, blah. Agent 2 comes in.
Right.
Well, that wouldn't really be fully accurate. He should really be thinking about this. Agent 3. And it'll show up to
The thought process
15 or 16 agents, basically like
within the same AI. What you're
Within the
talking
same
about
AI.
is you want Claude arguing with ChatGPT, arguing with fucking Opus, arguing with
like literally a group chat.
Jared, pull up that New York Post article that I sent you. Stressed Gen Z is carrying around anxiety bags with tools to calm their nerves. Hannah Fowles was spiraling. It'd been a grueling day at work, and by the time the 22-year-old from Provo, Utah, got home, panic was bubbling in her chest, and thoughts raced as her cheeks flushed red. I was starting to get super overheated. I couldn't calm myself down, Fowles told the Post. Nothing that I normally do, like breathing exercises or lying down in a dark room, was working. Then she saw the bag.
Jesus Christ.
Just weeks earlier, Fowles and her therapist had put together a small grab-and-go kit filled with items to calm her when anxiety strikes. And she flicked on a small portable fan, letting the cool air wash over her face, pressed a cold pack to the back of her neck, while on the other hand, she gripped a spiky fidget toy, feeling its prongs dig into her palm as the panic began to ebb. Now, I know what you want to do. What you want to do is make fun of these people for having, look, how it's an EDC bug-out bag that, like, military guys have, but for Gen Z people. What I want to know is, what would be in your anxiety bag? Gary.
Well, I actually have one of those bags. It's called a bag of drugs, Chris. Thank you for asking me. Just
5 grams of whole leaf kratom.
we got kratom. We've got some amphetamines in there. We've got new tonics. We've got Valiums.
Help the anxiety or just?
Oh no, I'm just addicted to drugs. No, this is.
what was the question?
I don't think you should make fun of people like this though, because it's not really their fault that they're being sort of conditioned to have this obsession with mental health. That's my theory.
That's exactly
Like
what
you
I
take
said.
DEI. DEI starts from a good place. Hey, we should include more people. We should be more equitable. Everyone should get a fair opportunity, a shot. But then these movements can get hijacked. And the movements can get hijacked and stretched into the point where it doesn't really resemble where it started. You guys see this thing with the Canadian politician who was using the LGBTQ acronym
Yeah,
but it was
it's
like 14 letters long.
It's what is it? Murdered and missing women and indigenous women and children.
Yeah, Jared, pull that up. You have it?
MMISJ.
Did you see this?
It's a full sentence long.
No, I've listened to this.
She's giving a press conference, and she stands there, and she just with a straight face says she wants to express her condolences or whatever to the MMIWG 2SL. There's a number in there. 2SL GBTQQIA+. And she just says that with a straight face. And then people were like, what the hell was all that? And it's like, it includes like murder victims,
Murdered and
murderers.
missing women and children, indigenous people, like two-spirit. The 2 is for two-spirit, which is like, yeah. Like
double souls.
What is that?
A is in there, which is asexual. So here it is.
Holy shit, that's long.
Was released, I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+.
That's impressive.
That was honestly
That's
great.
really actually,
She runs it back.
Indigenous women across this country, Indigenous women, girls 2SLGBTQQIA+.
Dude, it's fucking wild.
So good.
She's
So
not
that's-
reading off anything.
No,
That's off the dome.
Yeah,
that's,
she's
Juice
like-
WRLD. That's Eminem.
She's like the fucking Harry Mack of coming up with acronyms. You know that dude he's like, shout out 3 words, and it's like umbrella, steaks, shoes, and he like freestyle raps an entire thing about it.
the Jay-Z.
And they're serious about this too. That's not even a joke. That's what's
No,
insane.
this is not SNL. This is
But
like,
on your mental health point,
This is why it's.
But I think what ends up happening is you end up with these swings. You can then have a swing so far the other way,
overcorrect.
where it's like, I mean, everybody's known somebody's taking their own life, right? Like that side of things is like serious.
Totally.
The problem with a lot of these things is you get to like a lot of the root of human experiences, which is like, ironically, a little bit of that, but so much of it is around the language that we use. And within mental health, you bundled up so much that you bundled up 7 billion individuals, and it's become such a black and white term. Whereas I always use the example, like diabetes is quite an interesting one, right? Because you have type 1 diabetes, which is a genuine medical condition that somebody's had from birth. And then you have type 2 diabetes, which is a little bit more, it's a lot more your choice and your environment. And it feels like you don't have that kind of nuance around that.
I'm going to try and just speed run my diabetes. This is getting better, by the way.
Yeah, actually.
It's getting better. Try it again.
Coke on the nuts.
Yeah. Before we continue, most people in their 30s are still training hard. Their protein is dialed in. They sleep better than they did in their 20s. Discipline is not the issue, but recovery feels somewhat different. Strength gains take a little longer. The margin for error starts to shrink. And that is why I'm such a huge fan of Timeline. You see, mitochondria are the energy producers inside of your muscle cells. As they weaken with age, your ability to generate power and recover effectively changes, even if your habits stay strong. MitoPure from Timeline contains the only clinically validated form of urethylene A used in human trials. It promotes mitophagy, which is your body's natural process for clearing out damaged mitochondria and renewing healthy ones. In studies, this supported mitochondrial function and muscle strength in older adults. It's not about pushing harder, it's about actually supporting the cellular machinery underneath your training. If you care about staying strong into your 30s, 40s, and 50s and beyond, this is foundational. Best of all, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee plus free shipping in the US, and they ship internationally. And right now, you can get up to 20% off by going to the link in the description below or heading to timeline.com/modernwisdom and using the code modernwisdom at checkout. That's timeline.com/modernwisdom. And modern wisdom at checkout.
You do have like some of these language hacks that like exist. Like, I always joke that like cybersecurity, nobody takes it serious as an industry because the naming's just awful. Like, and the biggest thing the cybersecurity industry could do is no new technology if they just branded it as CTIs, like taking it from STIs, like computer transmitted infections. All of a sudden, I'm like, I feel a little bit more dirty about it. And likewise, the homeless problem right now. How many people who are homeless, is that the main cause? It's often, it'll be ironically, some serious mental health issue that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So like the language that we use.
I've interviewed so many homeless people, dude. Half of them want to be homeless. And to be quite frank, I don't really blame them. If you want to go live in the woods, as long as you're not
Why would somebody
and
want to
raping.
be? Why would somebody want to be homeless?
Because they're not being tethered to this system that we're all living within that is currently kind of going down the drain.
Huh.
I mean, I don't really blame them. That thing that we just pulled up though is exactly why people aren't taking mental health seriously anymore though, because there's a fucking in that what's it called, the DSVM-3 or whatever. There's a disease for everything.
Right.
You know?
So, I mean,
like, for example, when I was growing up, I got diagnosed all sorts of shit, but really I was just a little asshole. And when you start saying I got ADHD or I'm bipolar or I got borderline or you got this or that or whatever, you know, I got a crutch I can lean on for every single fucking shitty thing I do to somebody, which is awesome.
There's a great line that someone said to me, which was mental health is both underdiagnosed and overdiagnosed. There's people who don't have it that just live through it,
dude,
and don't know, and people who don't have it that make it their entire personality.
All the people that actually have serious mental health problems that I'm at least friends with are mostly undiagnosed, and they're just kind of, you know, wandering through
trying
life.
To make do.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
But I agree with you, and I think it's easy to be like callous or whatever, like flippant about the people that have been diagnosed or self-diagnosed or found their sort of mental health become more fragile. They don't want to be fucked. Like they don't want to be that fragile. They're just trying to hold on to some sense of certainty, and the certainty has now come from their diagnoses rather than their agency. Like they just can't make that thing happen. And they're in a world that seems to pedestalize. You know, I mean, there's even a trend on Instagram of people having their mental health maladies in their bio. You know, like chicks do like Jesus in bio or pronouns. These are my maladies, because that's where they're trying to find some sense of identity, and I don't think they want that. Well, yeah, it fucking sucks for those people.
That's because, like I was saying, the same reason homeless people are like, yeah, I'm checked out of this thing. It's because they don't fit into the system really, because the system's just not working. You know, and I'm using the system just as like a generality because it is so massive. But when you have people that are like not fitting into it, they want to find community within the other people that are all
not fitting in as well.
The head, you know? I mean, it's the same reason why drug addicts all hang out together. And I think drug addiction is another thing that's misdiagnosed. Like, so
if you're misdiagnosed drug addiction,
like, I guess I didn't say that well. People that are drug addicts, which can, I think, pretty much happen to anybody. Certain people are probably more predisposed to it, but people that are drug addicts get misdiagnosed as having some sort of mental health problem, but really they're just on drugs and then off of drugs. They're withdrawing, then they're high again.
Like when you kicked off at your video guy.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to bring to the table for today is Kratom. Kratom is something I've been looking into because there's, I think, sort of an epidemic happening, and there's a video we got here that I can have pulled up. This is the guy I'm working with who I wigged out on the other day because he didn't buy me $10 of Kratom, and I quit the doc because of that. Yeah, this stuff's strong.
Yeah,
like. So what he's talking about to contextualize all this is 7-OH is 7-hydroxymitragine, which is one of the, I guess we could just call it a chemical. It's in here. I don't know the science behind it. We're going to go actually interview a chemist about this stuff. But basically, people are taking Kratom, which is sold over the counter at gas stations and head shops, and there's even Kratom shops. But it is a leaf that's from Southeast Asia that sort of mimics the effects of certain stimulants, but also opioids. It acts on your opioid receptors and SSRIs. And I think I know a handful of people that have gotten very addicted to it, and they're saying that the withdrawal is worse than heroin, which is pretty unbelievable. Given that heroin withdrawal is horrendous.
And that's it there?
Yeah, man. I should have brought some for everybody.
So, but you're just drinking that.
Yeah, this is a lower dose than I was.
Like you're telling me it's like worse than heroin, but you're just
So here's the thing though. So there's a difference between, and I'm still in the process of figuring all this out. And
literally.
It literally, yeah. So I was drinking a bunch of this stuff every day for the past month, and then I sort of wigged out on my documentary partner because yeah, it'll be in the doc. But we were at a head shop, and I was like, hey, dude, let's get some of this Kratom. I want to test this stuff out. And there's these things. There's 7-OH pills, which is it's like almost like Percocet basically, and it's sold over the counter, which is nuts. I mean, I'm not bashing it necessarily, but it's interesting. It's sort of the Wild West of this drug, and it's not like it's a new thing. They tried banning this in 2016. The reason I'm bringing it up is because we're doing this documentary, and I think that we're on the verge of potentially an epidemic with it. Wow. Yeah,
this has been. I've seen this in Austin since I basically got here. So there's a few small glass vials, like a 5-hour energy.
Yeah,
and there was a company that was making them, and one of my friends had another guy who'd been addicted. He'd had whatever the addiction gene is, addicted to every different drug throughout his entire life. There's even YouTube channels of these people, and they'll say, which drug fucked my life up the most? And they'll just list every drug because they tried everything. And they're like, well, coming off LSD was actually not that bad, but I had this period where I was on MDMA every single day for like 2 months, and that was really, really rough because my serotonin and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he said of all of the things that he tried, the hardest to get off of was Kratom. Wow. And then he knew so much. At 6 a.m, the Sunrise Mini Mart on whatever fucking South Lamar Street or something.
Holy
he
shit.
was outside, like waiting for this. And then this company had taken their the Kratom content without changing the bottling from 5 grams of whole leaf to 2.5, and he knew. And as soon as he had it, he was like, "My fucking Kratom's been stepped on." He felt like
from the mini mart.
Yeah, the Sunrise Mini Mart had stepped on his, or whatever, the company that was making this, because these people aren't treating it like a supplement, that it's so psychoactive.
And okay, the one thing I guess I didn't explain very well is that there's a difference between like the pure Kratom leaf powder and the stuff that has the 7-OH in it, which is the synthesized version. And the reason I didn't explain that very well is because it's kind of confusing, but Kratom leaf itself, I mean, you can still get addicted to it, but the 7-OH stuff is what's fucking people up.
Okay.
For reference, just because I know somebody that's addicted to Kratom is going to watch this and be like, that son of a bitch blasphemed my Kratom.
Yep.
So that is...
but the 7-OH is the really gnarly stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to get some of those pills and start taking them. But yeah, drinking Kratom extract with the 7-OH in it is basically drinking liquid heroin.
What does it feel like?
It's very interesting. It's very sneaky. So I was drinking it for a month before I really realized how high I was on it.
Have you done heroin?
Oh yeah. I'm from Ohio, dude.
So, how do they compare? Like
7-OH.
If you
HERION.
if you was personifying them as people, like how do they compare the two?
If it was a party,
Kratom to heroin?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't done high levels of the 7-OH stuff yet, but comparatively, the Kratom drinks that I've been drinking are called Club 13 150 MIT, MIT, which is mitragynine. That's the drug, I guess. And I was drinking 2 of those a day, which is, it turns out it's a lot for that. But there's not a lot of 7-OH in it, from what I understand how it works. So I don't have the full scope yet for you, but I would say that heroin is, you get really high, you feel great. You get that warm feeling in your stomach. You've taken painkillers before, right?
No, not really, no.
Okay, well, good on you, dude.
Yeah.
You're better than me.
Yeah, no, don't mean it that way.
Top of the morning.
Are you conscious of the experience as you're doing it?
Yeah, you know you're high. So
Okay.
I guess the primary difference would be that when you take Kratom, or when I have been, I just didn't even realize how high I was on this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, I was kind of just in a daze, but you get sort of that euphoric feeling. And I will say that in low doses of it, it's sort of more of a stimulant.
Uh-huh.
And then you take more and you're getting more of an opioid, the
Sedative
painkiller
type thing.
sedative.
Isn't that interesting
feeling.
that the curve, how much you take, almost inverts
Yeah, it's
the
a
effect?
nuanced drug. And I've never really experienced that before, which was one of the things I was going to say it's sort of sneaky. But the other thing is, and maybe this is just me, but I didn't really grasp that I was high as hell on this stuff. And I was going in sort of thought loops about things. Like, we had to get like a video done, right? And I was just sort of pacing around my house, which I pace a lot already when I think or when I'm on the phone. But I was just sort of going in these thought loops where I was repeating myself, like kind of even talking to myself. I was
Little
losing it a little bit.
psychosis-y?
Yeah, dude. And I didn't realize that this drug was that strong because it's sold over the counter. And that's I already knew from a number of other people who have gotten addicted to it, because I did I put some feelers out there to talk to people. They already told me, like, hey, be careful. It's going to sneak up on you more so than you think.
Are you scared, as somebody who's pretty experienced with drugs, are you scared of the potential of putting yourself into this particular, you're going to try this 7-OH thing, and it's going to be amazing for the doc, and it's going to teach you a lot, and you're going to be able to empathize with the people that are struggling with this, but you are putting your health and life on the line. I'm aware you've done it in other ways a lot, but like this, I don't know, it feels like a pretty big dice roll to do that. Is that something that you consider?
No, I'm not really worried about it. I mean, what's going to happen? I'm going to have to just
Detox.
withdraw. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go to Thailand and see where this stuff comes from, though.
Okay.
Get the real.
Jesus Christ! You're going to it's like going to Mordor and deciding to like fucking stare into the eye of Mount Doom or whatever.
I'll have
it is.
the Kratom shot in my hand as I'm looking into the eye of Mordor.
Well, I've done it once.
I've done it once as well. When we was in Vegas.
Did you get energy from it?
So, well,
What
my
did we do
initial
in Vegas?
onboarding to Kratom when he was doing the David Goggins podcast, ironically.
What were you doing? Kratom with David Goggins.
I was like, I don't.
Hey, why didn't we vlog that?
I was like,
I did
do some
Kratom with
pull-ups,
David
pussy.
So for context, at the time, like this is how things change with time.
That was the week that we did mushrooms.
Yeah, and Kratom was seen as like a supplement. Like it was seen as a nootropic at the time. That was how it was advertised to me.
It wasn't looked
I
at
thought
like
it was
a
going to be a
drug.
study. I thought I could take it and I could work more.
Mini Adderall.
And I remember like going, this is shit. But then I realized I had no more problems. I was like, on it, I've got no problems at all. I go, why do I always think I have problems? I actually have no problems.
Because you're high, George.
And then I wanted to get. And then I wanted to get some the
Welcome
next day.
to my world,
Yeah.
buddy.
Why do you think
problems.
I've got so few problems?
Yeah. It's weird how you go from no problems and then when it wears off, you've got so many problems.
Yeah, and then you're snapping at
You
your
have more
producer
problems.
and you're like, hey, fuck you, I quit.
Yeah.
It was a $10 a Kratom, which is crazy embarrassing.
Well, I mean,
When did you do it?
so I tried Feel Free, which is like this really, really popular
And
company.
that's, for the record, that's one of the companies that's being sort of put under the microscope as this is the not good.
But they're not using the 7-OH, right? That's just whole leaf.
I got to look at that. You know what?
I'm pretty
No.
sure. Yeah, pull it up. I'm pretty sure that this is whole leaf stuff. But anyway, this is forever ago. This is when I was living in the Airbnb on South Congress.
Okay.
When I first moved here, and everyone's doing it. It's literally the in school mom. But everyone's doing it. And so I'm like, oh, well, fucking everyone's doing it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this in the house. I'm going to try half a bottle. I don't know. I can't remember whether it was 5 grams, 2 grams, whatever. Tried it, and it just made me really anxious. Anxious and a little sick for like an hour and a half. I watched some Peaky Blinders, and I was like, that's not
And
for
you
me.
just drank one bottle of it?
Half a bottle. And I was like, that's not for me.
So a lot of people feel sick to their stomach after they drink it and throw up and stuff like that.
It didn't make me feel good. Me and Z did it again when we went to go and see a band, but we didn't realize you are not supposed to drink alcohol on it.
Yeah, it'll make you black out. Also, Feel Free has kava in it too.
Correct. But
Which-
it's only in a little, it might be
Right.
concentrate. Anyway, so I tried it. It didn't agree with me. There's like some things where I think I get quite bad hangovers. I've always got bad hangovers, but they've gotten worse as I've got older. What you've got, if you were someone who doesn't get hangovers, Sonny Webster, Olympic weightlifter, I remember we once partied till 4:30 in the morning, and he set off to drive from Newcastle to Edinburgh, 8 a.m. to go and do a seminar that started at 10:30. He'd had 4 hours of sleep, drank more than me, and was just up and doing things for the whole morning, and then went and gave an entire seminar and was just fine. I needed to stay in bed the whole day. There's some people for whom the cost versus the benefit, the fucking ratio is just super skewed. They're like the Goggin, they're the Bonnie Blue of being able to drink and keep going. And
Dude, don't ever use Bonnie Blue as a reference point.
You're very much the Virgin Mary of that.
Yeah, I am very much. Yeah, I'm the Lily Phillips. I can't take as many. And if that was like, if it was not so painful for me, the cost benefit analysis of drinking would be completely different. Like we did, both me and you have done our Intellex DNA, which by the
Yes.
way, this is the fucking sickest shit. Intellex DNA, company that's based here in Austin, but you can do it anywhere in the US. You spit into a tube, not affiliated. I just think they're fucking sick. Spit into a tube, send it off. They'll give you your full allele genetic profile, and they'll compare you to the population. Hey, you clear caffeine more slowly. You have a protective gene that's good for late onset Parkinson's. You have one which can be a risk for autism, or for this or for that or for the other. And in loads of behavioral stuff like this has been associated with people who have addictive personalities. So I have the COMT gene, which is I clear dopamine more slowly. That means that I don't deal with chaos and stress particularly well, but once I start doing something, I get completely fucking obsessed and I lock in and I can't stop. It's like literally one of the descriptions was may struggle to stop tasks once started. It's like just the gene of an obsessive person.
That sounds pretty
What's
cool.
sick is once you do it's like $3,000 or something, maybe $3,000.
Around about that. It's expensive,
$3,000,
but
$4,000.
it's
not
worth it.
cheap, but it's like they're never going to change. This is my genes are my genes.
So I always wonder with this, did you learn things you didn't already know about yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that first one you would know, like, yeah, I don't handle this well, but I am able to obsess over tasks.
So I'll give you, so the way I view these intellect stuff, and it's like very early days and they're only going to get better and better, is have you heard about the Air Force study in the 1950s where they took like 600 Air Force pilots who were already male, certain height, certain build, and they tried to build like the average cockpit for all of them. So
they tried to make the perfect cockpit by aggregating all of the proportions of the pilots.
And when they went to test this perfect cockpit that they built, it fit 0. Because essentially averages are completely bullshit.
No one is average.
Only I think so it was 12 things that they measured, and only 3 of them hit 3%. So you can see it here. And even that 3%, it's with a wide range. So the 3% that hit the range, for example, it would be between 5'9" and 6 foot, like that level of range. So then they realized, and obviously it's so obvious now, but it's way better to just build a customizable cockpit. And I think we'll look back at everything, like how we've grown up around the way people talk about studies and magnesium and vitamin D and vitamin C is just absolute horseshit.
Yeah.
Because what Gary should take is very different to what I should take, and likewise with Chris. So to give you some concrete examples, one, I found out I was in the bottom 10% of magnesium absorption for my genetics. So I was like, oh, I've got to take way more than if I was to ask anything. Yeah. I have a specific gene that I found, which was if I have surgery and they give me morphine, I'm very unlikely to wake up with a regular dose. It will probably kill me. So I've got to let doctors know that beforehand. I'm like, oh, that's already paid for the test. And then everything built on top of that.
Example.
Yeah. Sleeping great. That was so the specifics that you do learn is actually pretty fascinating, because then everything gets built on top of that.
Let me give you this. The thing that it did for me, I didn't learn a tremendous amount that I didn't already know through experience, but it made all of my preferences feel way more legitimate.
Right. Give you permission.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, this is why I like deep house music, because it's quite calming. So one of the coolest things, both of us did it, put it into your LLM, put all of your labs in as well, and it gives a different context. The coolest thing that I did, kind of useless, but again, made me feel more legitimate with my life direction. It was like, I've just done it again now to my ChatGPT project. Imagine that you know nothing about me. Erase all of the information that you have, exclusively based on my DNA genetic test. What sort of a person am I? And it comes back and it is fucking bang. Your baseline personality, high drive, high stress operator. Your dopamine and stress genetics, COMT, AA, DBH, SLC, high baseline dopamine and adrenal tone, faster mental processing, strong pattern recognition, but low margin for stress before overload. You become productive, intense, goal-oriented, slightly on edge most of the time, but also prone to overthinking, easily tipped into anxiety and to sustained pressure, sensitive to uncertainty and social evaluation. This is not a calm, content temperament. It is a perform or perish nervous system. And it just runs that for everything. Motivation pattern, I need to do off and on. I can't do constant low-level stress. And I was like, I already knew this, right? Because you learn things about yourself. Right. Both of us have zeroed in on doing meditation. Both of us have zeroed in on relatively early nights, even though both of us have been in previous industries that were way different. And I'm like, club promotion should be fun. Like, I should be in a chaotic environment. I should be in a highly unpredictable environment, but I didn't end up there. And I always felt a little bit off. And as I've zeroed in more and more. So what it did was, I think, especially for people that are maybe looking for more justification about why they're in the lonely chapter, they're struggling to get through. And they're like, fuck, like, why don't I fit in? Is there something wrong with me? Not at all. Like, this is just your predisposition. Right. Now, the problem that you can have, and it's kind of cool that this isn't as widespread as it might be, exactly the same as once you have a name for it, you're going to live by it. This could very much become destiny.
Right, comes both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm way less intrigued in that kind of cold reading description. I'm way more interested in
cold reading.
Like, it's like, it could have been like Virgo says this, right? But what I'm fascinated by is, so what's the strange thing? People have always said I'm very, very similar to my granddad. We have like similar hair. I like sometimes find myself like closing my eyes during meals, and he did that. Like, there's weird things.
You did that your birthday on Monday.
And I did. And I then put in the thing. I asked the thing. I go, if I'm like trying to not die here, like what are my most likely causes of death? And they go, well, your two biggest health concerns are one, glaucoma, so you'll just kind of gradually go blind, which won't kill you, or you'll die of a stroke. My granddad, glaucoma.
Phil Collins.
I
was gonna say it.
And stroke. And stroke. Wow. Yeah. So it's if you've got
Fucking
the money,
sick,
spend
dude.
it.
It's sick. And you can have it interpreted by a clinician or whatever, but you can also just do it here. So I've just done the same thing. If I was likely to die, what are my most likely causes of death? Cardiovascular disease, chronic stress-mediated breakdown. Ooh, that's exciting. Neurovascular, neurological issues because of high signaling, environmental toxin sensitivity. I just fucking got popped by mold.
They're going to clone you.
Yeah, that's true. That is for God. They don't need.
See, I don't need a test like this to know how I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Exactly
You've
what it's gonna
got
be. I'm a
agency over that, my
documentary.
friend. You've got agency over that.
I'm going to have a heart attack, drug-induced heart attack while flying down the highway.
Before we continue, as you're probably aware, I'm not a massive drinker, at least not anymore. But even if you too are not drinking, sometimes you just want something cold, frosty, and tasty without the fear of a hangover the next day, which is why I'm such a huge fan of Athletic Brewing Co. Thank you very much. Their non-alcoholic brews taste just as good as the real thing. They've got IPAs, hazy goldens. They're so good that you'll forget that there's no alcohol in them until you wake up the next day feeling fantastic. It means that you can enjoy the ritual without the wreckage. No hangover, no 3 a.m. panic, no wasted Sunday recovering from Saturday. That is why I partnered with them. You can find Athletic Brewing Co.'s best-selling lineup at grocery or liquor stores near you, or best option, you can get the full variety pack of 4 flavors shipped right to your door. Right now, get up to 15% off your first online order by going to the link in the description below or heading to athleticbrewing.com/modernwisdom and using the code modernwisdom at checkout. That's athleticbrewing.com/modernwisdom and modernwisdom at checkout. Near beer, terms and conditions apply. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. I need to bring up something that you said at dinner the other evening.
Oh, well.
Did you say that you think that people remember every porn video that they've ever watched?
No, it's this. It's a private dinner with people who'd paid to be there, and you brought it up on the show. No. My thesis is like one big meta criticism I have of the US that nobody warned me about as a Brit is that the toilets in America. Like I could be at like Dean's, like a very nice restaurant in Austin. I'd be having like an amazing chat about like Kierkegaard. Think about like Kierkegaard versus Aristotle. And like, sorry, let me just pop to the loos. Ricky Gervais bit. And like, you go to the loos, and in America, the cubicles, you can see people's feet in them. And the worst thing is, there's like this slit in every single, and this is nationwide.
You're in the women's.
You can be in the like a billionaire's like hotel,
Right.
and there's a slit there, which means with unisex toilets is horrific. Like I don't even go in the unisex toilets for this reasons. You look, you can see people kind of just this carousel of them sat down squatting, and yeah, this whole idea that when you watch like graphic content, it stores in your brain forever. So I've just got thousands of men around Austin, just like there, like these carousels.
And then
of
you
them.
went to the bathroom.
And this is
You have
supposed to
the
be
world's
this
worst
is supposed to be
superpower.
the number one country in the world, and like this doesn't exist in Europe.
Do you
This doesn't
remember-
exist in the Middle East.
You know what you could do? Do you remember those things like back in the day, the first, those cycling cylinders, and you look through the slit, and if you spin it, it makes a horse start to move? If you ran really quickly down a very long series of toilets, and you're just looking at these different men at like stages of pooping.
It's horrific.
Dude, you know how I know that I'm watching too many graphic videos is because when you said there's a horse that starts to move, I heard there's a whore that starts to move.
Jesus.
That's not good, man.
Jesus. Every time like I speak to a Brit or a European now about coming to America and they think like there's going to be this chat about the economy, I go, this is the thing that I've got to warn you about. It's so surreal. And I think about this a lot. Like you were talking earlier about like life hacks, like how much of life comes down to compartmentalization, which is why somebody made a great point the other day, why meditation apps often don't take off on phones, because you have your meditation up there, but then you have your strip club, you have
Gary does.
Yeah, all this kind of all this stuff there. And with these bathrooms, you don't have any compartmentalization. I always say, imagine a house. So my friend lives in an 80-story apartment building, and we kind of sat there in his house. I go, if everything was glass right now, this would be horrific. But because you have compartmentalization, it has such an impact.
Well, your point is that you would be able to see one dude's taking a dump over there and another dude's banging his girlfriend right.
Yes. Yeah. Literally just up there.
But
just
we've
down
made
there.
these arbitrary walls around us. And
it
this
works.
is the edge of my safe place.
Yeah.
And the beginning of yours.
I just like where we started. You were like, I have this thesis. And then if you
What did we even talk about?
It's
You were
air
talking
cover.
about, somebody said something about porn? Or,
Yeah, you
or
brought up the
storing
inner-
graphic stuff in your brain.
genetics, porn. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Question.
Go on.
How do you feel about feet?
Not a fan.
No?
Gross me out.
Okay.
Not a fan.
How do you feel about feet?
Pretty much the same as Shaan.
How do you feel
No,
about
I have like a
I'm
visceral.
totally
gross
neutral.
feet neutral?
Yeah.
Okay.
In what capacity are we talking about
Okay,
here?
so there is a woman who does Uber Eats and has started including photos of her feet in the picture of the food drop-off, and her tips have gone up by a ton. So
Not
this
mad
is,
about it.
I mean, they're, as feet go,
He said nice
they're
pedicure.
perfectly fine feet. But did not realize that this would blow up fast. And this is the OnlyFans pipeline.
Oh.
Like as soon as you post something and start to get free money for it, you're like, well, if I put my Cash App in here, and if you scroll down a little bit more, she says, get a rotisserie chicken or a pedicure, first rotisserie chicken allowance. There we go. This is the fucking only Uber Eats to OnlyFans pipeline that no one is talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there's like an old joke about how long does it take for not a bottle service girl, a strip club waitress to become a stripper? 2 weeks.
What's
You've never
this?
heard this? Yeah, it's like basically not every, but a lot of strip club bartenders or hostesses, they just end up becoming strippers. But maybe that's just a niche thing that I know because of my vices.
Penchant for strip clubs.
Yeah, I guess. Dude, I used to have, you know this, I think I've told you this. I used to have this pickup line when I would go to strip clubs where I'd be like, hey, be like, you look just like my future ex-wife. And they'd be like, oh, ha, 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 because they've heard that 1,000 times. I'd be like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm like a horrible person. I've got a felony. I'm not allowed to see my son, so you don't want nothing to do with me. And just
They lean in.
every time.
Wow.
Dude. It's crazy.
Isn't that the fucking craziest pickup line?
Not really. I mean, American women have been conditioned since the 50s to be into like the bad boy.
I mean, first of all, it was a two-parter, so that already was sophistication. I was
Yeah,
not
the old one
prepared for.
Dude.
The old one.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's Gary's
there.
Shoulder roll.
That's Gary's life hack, by the way.
Floyd Mayweather.
Oh,
Gary's
yeah,
life
yeah.
hack.
He asked me for a life hack. That's what I came up
That's
with.
Gary's life hack.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
What have you got? Some new fucking notes app? I don't want to hear about that. Then tell me about
You
your
should've gone
Claude,
last.
your Claude project instructions. I want to know how to pick up a hooker.
Right. I don't even want to do one now.
Have you seen the subreddit Male Living Spaces?
Yes, it's funny.
It's fucking brilliant. So this is a subreddit where guys post their bedrooms and their living spaces that they've sort of designed. It's sort of peak Bachelor, like solo degen life. And the photos are just fucking absolutely spectacular. This first one, this guy's got a lat pull-down machine and a TV.
The face, Patrick Bateman.
Did that honestly? This looks. Have you ever seen Mr. Beast's office? It looks exactly like this. He has a bedroom in the office with a bench press right next to it, just like that. Oh,
The one with the fucking
stormtrooper.
stormtrooper.
I love it.
Yep. There's a U-shaped couch around just a huge TV. It's like literally you couldn't get in there
It's
without
not
hitting
even-
the TV.
It's not even hung on
But
the
look,
wall.
the reason is because he's wanting to get a big couch, but he needs to get in the door. So the door won't open. He can't fit the couch and the TV in without not being able to open the door. That's the only way he could have. That's actually some fucking Marie Kondo shit. Transparent fucking blow-up doll. This one's fucking great. It's an industrial container with a single deck
Wow.
chair in the
What's
middle.
the camping chair
I don't
pointing
know.
at?
And then-
Wow.
That's the living room.
Yeah, that's the cuck chair for when I'm crushing shit. Go to the next one. This is you, Gary.
Wow.
It's a bedside table made out of just raw breeze blocks.
Yeah. You know, when I was growing up, my dad actually had our old box TV on a set of cinder blocks for a period of time. The divorce hit him hard.
It works as drawers too.
Oh, it does work as drawers? I did-
Wow.
It's a bottle of Kratom and everything.
Is it a flat in London or a prison in Norway? Have you seen that?
Was it not halls
Oh
of
my
residence? Was it not
God.
British halls of
I
residence?
think there's a few. I think there's a few different ones.
Prison in Norway or halls of residence in the UK, I
Mhm.
think was it. And yeah, it's because the fucking quality of the prisons in some Scandi countries are unbelievable.
Dude, yeah, I've seen those. That pisses me the fuck off.
What, that Norwegians are living in
What
Norwegian
the
criminals?
people in prison in Norway are doing much better than me. It really irritates me. I'm dead serious because, like, you know, I've been known to commit a crime or two, and if I get arrested and go to prison, I'm like, it just is.
You get arrested here.
Yeah, dude. I mean, part of me is like, man, maybe I should just go to Norway and like
Hedge your
get in a
bets.
shootout or something. I don't know. Like that. You guys remember that movie, Heat?
I haven't seen it.
The Robert De Niro film.
De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer. Yeah, I think Danny Trejo's even in it. But like there's just that old, like, you know, every guy's like dream way they're gonna go out is just basically robbing a bank and getting in a shootout. Or maybe that's just the people I hang out with. But you familiar with this?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, are you know what I'm talking about? You ever seen those memes or those?
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, it's just like going out in a blaze of glory, basically, and then or like dying out in like the, you know, like that picture of Gosling bleeding out in the snow,
Right.
like the dream snow bleed out spot. Anyways, I just I'm
You have
like,
a
man, I'd rather
a
just do
Pinterest
that.
board of these.
Well, no, it's like I go to Norway and I get into a some sort of criminal enterprise. What's the worst thing that happens to me? I get to live better than I'm living here. What? That's just where my mind goes. You know, but
Work smarter, not harder.
The inverse El Salvador.
yeah, dude, holy shit. Well, I think the crimes that are being committed in El Salvador are probably dramatically worse than in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were like chopping people up into pieces and stuff. But
Did you follow this Citrini Analyst number 3 story?
No.
You didn't see this?
No.
Have you guys heard about this Analyst number 3?
No, what's this?
Oh, dude, this is amazing. This is just like a guy doing a legendary thing. So the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, and there's the war part of it, but then there's the financial part of it. You've seen like oil prices going up, down, the markets are swinging. And so there's this research firm called Citrini. They basically do research reports, sell them to hedge funds. And so the hedge fund guys want information. If they get better information than they're getting from the news or from the, you know, the newspaper the next day, that's worth, you know, millions and millions of dollars to them. So Citrini, they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this blockade. And so this guy has this idea, high agency story here for you. One of the guys in the office is like, what if I just go? And they're like, what do you mean, where you go? He's like, what if I just go to the strait and I'll just count the boats? Like, what do you mean count? He's like, I'll just see like how many are going through and we'll know if it's like blocked. Because basically there are people trying to figure out, is it blocked? Is it not blocked? And the crude oil prices were going parabolic and then they were crashing day over day. And so they had to figure out what was going on. And so this guy basically, one of their analysts, they call him Analyst number 3, and he wrote this field blog. So I see this, it goes, and I read this and this sucked me into the story. It goes, the front desk informed me there's 2 gentlemen from the CID downstairs to ask me questions. CID in the Gulf is like the CIA. I checked my phone in a safe, grabbed the burner, because they had seen tweets about Analyst number 3. Thanks a lot, James. And then it says, I went downstairs in my pajamas and slippers. There's a piece of OPSEC you learn when you're an Arab speaker. If things get sticky, you only speak English because Arabic opens the door you don't want opened. The possibility that you're a spy, a sympathizer, blah, 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 basically play dumb. So I'll go downstairs and I say, hello guys, how are you? I speak English. The hotel receptionist, the same man I've been chatting with in Arabic all day, turned to the agents and goes, this guy speaks perfect Arabic. And so this guy blogged his entire thing. So he basically left the US, went to the Middle East. They show his briefcase of like what he took. It's pretty hilarious. So this is what he took for his field trip.
His anxiety bag.
He's got two zins. He brought cigars. He brought a pack of clothes, and then he had a pair of Meta recording glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes, and this guy makes it all the way. So he gets to like Oman. He bribes a guy. They bring him in, and they're like, he's crossing the thing. They're like, you're not trying to do any journalism or anything, are you? He's like, journalism? No, I'm an adventurer, explorer. What? You crazy? And they check his bag. They don't notice that the Ray-Bans are the glasses one or the camera ones.
Nice.
He gets through. He bribes this guy to take him on a paddle boat to get into the strait, and he has footage of himself on the strait smoking a cigar, watching like one of the oil tankers that got attacked and counting the other boats. And he realized that all the mainstream media was reporting that the strait was closed. He's like, dude, I'm here. I see them going through. It's not fully closed. And they were figuring out what was going on. It turns out like actually the Iranians were checking, like, if you're not U.S. affiliated and you pay us a toll, we'll let you through. And that's why, like, there hadn't been this huge oil shock, because actually the tankers were getting through, but nobody knew. Everybody was using these, like, the tracking data from the boats, but he's like,
some of the boats aren't going to be tracked.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, watch this. And they just turn it off. Like, we don't want to be tracked. They don't want us saying that we're going through, so no problem. Turn that shit off. And they would go through. And so this is this epic story of this guy who made it back. He got thrown in jail for a couple days, and he like got out. And he's
because of the CIA.
No, he's just part of a research firm in New York.
Because he got caught because of
they held him, and they were like, we're going to check you out.
Yeah,
and then they couldn't find anything.
The CID is the Middle Eastern equivalent of the CIA.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And they popped it. That bag is the male equivalent of an anxiety bag.
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
That's what he said.
A full pack of Cubans, 2 Zins, and a pair of pants.
Don't trust, verify.
Well, that is basically someone using dark tourism to benefit from a capitalist way, similar to Lord Miles. Do you see that Lord Miles got called out by CoffeeZilla?
No, wow.
So Lord Miles has done some kind of rug pull that's to do with him and Polymarket, that he was going to do a 40-day fast, and that he bet just before he got picked up by the police, the local police of wherever he was, someone had put a huge position that he was going to lose. And it turns out if you trace that wallet back, it's somebody that knows him, and then he thinks that he put the bet on and then got the police to go. And it was like a fucking mess. But anyway, that guy might as well be Lord Miles.
Wow.
Well, speaking of the Gulf CIA, I got a story about a time I accidentally did a CIA field strategy, so to speak, if you guys want to hear it. When I was in college in Santa Barbara, my buddy and I were absolutely hammered, just wasted out of our minds. And we had just run from a cab, and some other shenanigans had occurred. And we got back to my apartment, which was on the second floor of the spot, but it was on a hill. So out the window was like a huge, it was like probably 60 yards to a pavement. To a parking lot behind a Chase Bank. And we were hammered, and we were at this place. The electricity had gone out, so all the food in the fridge was bad. And it smelled like shit. So we just started throwing it all out the window because we thought it was funny. And then we started throwing bottles out the window, and then like some furniture and stuff. And somebody called the police, and we're sitting there, we're all fucked up, and we just hear, do. Santa Barbara police, open up. And we're like, oh, fuck, dude, the cops. And he looks at me and he's like, dude, get naked. And I was like, what? He was like, trust me. And I was like, all right. So we get butt naked, and I'm like, oh, we're definitely going to fucking jail. So I immediately went to the bathroom because taking a shit in jail sucks. So I was like, I'm going to go force out a turd.
Wow.
So I'm in the bathroom, and all I hear is this like thump noise. And then I hear the door open. I hear it creak like, and it's just a cop. And he goes, what the fuck? What are you doing? And I hear like feet stumble around. And then I hear my buddy go, sorry, officer, I must have forgotten my pants. And the cops are like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, put some fucking clothes on. So the cops come grab me, and
naked.
And they realized that we were 2 gay dudes in an argument. So we faked a homosexual domestic violence situation. And they were like, oh shit, these are 2 gay dudes. And
Going at it.
Yeah. So they just ended up making us go clean it up because they felt bad because they thought that. Well, and my buddy was a lot bigger than me too. So now I'm realizing, telling this story, that they probably thought I was just getting beat up by this guy. But anyways, so years later, I've told this story a couple times before to people, and it's funny, haha. But years later, I find out from this guy Jack Karaku, CIA dude.
Yeah.
That this is like an old CIA strategy that they employ all the time. I didn't even know. Play the video here.
Headquarters says, we want you to pretend that you're gay. I said, oh, come on. No, we really need the information. You got to pretend that you're gay. I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for Uncle Sam. So I called and I said, hey, I have 2 tickets to this show, and I was hoping maybe you'd be free. Maybe we'll grab some sushi afterwards. He said, yeah, I'd love to. So we go to the show. He thoroughly enjoyed it. And we go for sushi afterwards. And we go out again. And he says, why don't you go over to my place some night, and I'll make dinner. I said, great. So I go over to his place. He made a lovely dinner. And then I thought, well, I have to invite him to my place. So I told my wife, you're going to have to like get out. So I made dinner. I removed all the pictures of us together, and we had just gotten married. So we had like our wedding picture up and everything. At the dinner, he leaned in to kiss me, and I instinctively backed off. And he said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. I thought you're gay." And I said, "Oh no, I am gay. I'm not into hairy guys." And he's like, "Oh, okay." I said, "I'm sorry. I think you're great, but I'm not feeling it."
You didn't kiss him?
No.
And I think I don't remember if it was him, but there was another person who used an example of faking they were gay to like get out of trouble. But yeah, that's another life hack for you.
Just get
You're welcome.
naked.
Yeah.
I mean, could you not just appear gay rather than be naked? Because who fights naked?
Two gay dudes banging.
Right, okay.
What do you-
But the idea that you were so small that they thought, oh, this guy's a world-renowned power bottom. I can't believe he's getting fucking pounded
that's-
from every angle.
Oh God, yeah. It's not a good look looking back on it.
Why have you got trash in your truck?
Well, I got another life hack for you, Chris. Remember to take out your trash cans. I got a couple bags of garbage in the back of my truck that he commented on when I pulled up. And he's like, "Why do you have like 4 bags of garbage?" And I was like, "Well, I forgot to take out the trash 2 weeks in a row. So there's just a bunch of
Using the bed of
You
your
just
truck
carry it around?
as additional
Yeah, it's just in the bed of the truck.
surplus.
There's a
space.
dumpster behind a movie theater that I'm going to go throw it out in after this, actually. Thanks for reminding me.
Welcome.
You could do a full season, 3 months like that.
With just 20 bags of trash in the truck.
All right, so you have 3 life hacks. That's pretty good.
Yeah, 3
One
life
more, and
hacks.
you do it for all of us.
One Israeli conspiracy, and I'm addicted to Kratom. That's what I'm bringing to the table today.
Chris,
Very
did you have a life hack? That was good.
I'll go on.
Well, you know, the first ever series that I did on this show was life hacks. So there's like 1,000 that I've got to pick from. But the one that I've been using the most, especially because I just got back from tour, I was in Australia, New Zealand, and Bali, is an app called Flighty. So Flighty connects with your email, and when you book flights, it automatically pulls it over, and it tells you everything that's going on with your flight, what gate you're going out of, where your plane is inbound, where it's going to go when you're on the journey as well. It also tracks everything, so it pre-downloads the map so that when you're flying in the air, even without Wi-Fi, it knows sort of how long the journey is going to be. It can give you information about what the wait time is going to be like at your future destination, connection times, gate to gate, what carousel your baggage is going to be at. And it lives in just a little island at the top, you know, the floating island thing at the top of your iPhone. And it just fucking rules, dude. Like the number of times that there's been some last minute bullshit change, and because I'm not watching the board or I've got my AirPods in, you're just in an
You don't
airport
need to
doing
think.
your thing. It's just on your phone. It's quicker than the app. There was one flight that got diverted from Austin because it was gale force winds. It got diverted to Houston, and I was recording with Andrew Schultz that day. It's like, fuck, like I need to get back. This better not be late. Blah blah blah. And I thought it was great, and then the plane just did whoop. Like that, took up again as it was coming into land. And I was like, oh, it must be coming back around for another one. Before the pilot even came over the Tannoy, it updated and said, like, you're landing in Houston. And I was like, oh. So in some ways it can be disappointing before everybody else knows. But it's fucking great. Flighty, and it's like $30 a year. And you can have friends on it as well. You can add friends' flights to it. So if you've got your missus is flying in, you don't need to do it. It's fucking epic. A quick aside, look, you know sleep matters, but let's be real, most nights you're probably not getting the sort of sleep that's actually restorative. 8 Sleep's Pod 5 fixes that. It's a smart cover that you throw over the top of your mattress that actively cools or heats each side of the bed up to 20 degrees. They've even added a temperature regulating duvet and pillowcase so you and your partner can sleep at your preferred temperatures, covered head to toe like some temperature controlled mummy. Plus, it's got upgraded sensors that run health checks when you're asleep, tracking things like abnormal heartbeats and breathing issues and sudden HRV changes. There's a built-in speaker for white noise. The autopilot feature learns your sleep patterns, makes real-time adjustments to improve your sleep. It even detects when you're snoring and lifts your head a few inches to help you breathe better. That is why 8 Sleep is clinically proven to add up to an hour of quality sleep per night. And best of all, they have a 30-day sleep trial, so you can buy it and sleep on it for 29 nights. And if you don't like it, they will just give you your money back. Plus, they ship internationally. Right now, you can get up to $350 off the Pod 5 by going to the link in the description below or heading to 8sleep.com/modernwisdom and using the code modernwisdom at checkout. That's EIGHT sleep.com/modernwisdom and modernwisdom at checkout.
My life hack at the minute is it's more kind of a philosophical stance to some extent. I think of a lot of gibberish that comes up where it's probably in the last 20 years, there's this particular discourse that happens online, but also in books where you'll see, they'll make a point and then they'll go, so this study says, or studies say, and I think what happens for me for a while now, previously I would default to whatever this person's about to say now is completely true. But often my new default is whatever this person is about to say now is complete horseshit. Because first off, my friend Billy made this great point of, do you know anybody who's been in a study? Have you actually ever inspected a lot of these studies? So I think previously what people used to do, 9 out of 10 times, they would believe the study's true and 1 out of 10 is gibberish. I actually think the policy is much better the other way, that 9 out of 10 studies that you hear about, particularly psychological studies, guess what? Physics doesn't need a study. Physics goes, here's how it works. And you want to always opt, like it's kind of the Deutsch argument, you always want to go for good explanations rather than studies of psych grads with people that had a specific hypothesis they wanted to confirm beforehand. And you'll often see these things that go viral on Twitter that get 4 million views. There's like 15 participants of like college males that are then making then the Daily Mail covers it, the Telegraph covers it.
Sweeping generalizations.
It's one giant scam. The other one is, my favorite one is, science says, or science backed, or trust the science. And my new default is, if somebody says this, they're about to say something that's completely unscientific. Because by definition, sorry about that. By definition, if something is science backed, I did invest. There we go. If something is science, if something is
fucking Mutonic says research-backed ingredients on the side.
Research back a little bit.
I can say firsthand, this shit definitely works.
Got you off Adderall.
Well, I guess the question is, but then actually investigate what the research is essentially saying, which most of us, we just default to this is true.
So I read Adam Mastroianni, Experimental History. Everyone needs to subscribe on Substack. It fucking rules. And he posted today, there was a wonderful 1-2-parter, Living Fossils, that Rob Kurzban does. And Experimental History had these 2 things about the replication crisis. And Adam's entire point is that psychological theories don't ever be killed. They just become embarrassing. So power posing, been completely disproven, but has now just been sort of retconned into, it's like expansive posture science and stuff. They've just renamed it. Growth mindset, total bullshit. Totally does not replicate. Ego depletion, like willpower stuff. Total bullshit, does not replicate. But
what about retard maxing?
Retard maxing actually is at the forefront of cutting psychological science.
If it doesn't replicate, do a 360.
Moonwalk out of there.
The problem with the replication stuff is that it goes back to the conversation we had around genetics, that actually some of this stuff may work for certain people depending on their specific genetic set. What you may have is 10% it really, really works for, and 90% it doesn't do anything, which is a way more fascinating conversation. But as soon as you just default to, it feels like I have a point that disagrees with Gary now, and I'm just going to say, well, studies say, and I've won. And there's never any critical conversation around, well, can you explain the specific variables here that causes this outcome? It's just studies say, oh, let me tell you about this study.
Increased skepticism, is that what you're saying?
Yes, as a whole.
Including around those.
All the way up. I mean,
I think the other side of that, the life hack is use this all the time, because there's, for every one George who's skeptical, out of 100 people, how many have your stance?
Oh, it's the other way, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be 99. So actually, the hack is,
well, there's actually
just start saying studies.
There's actually a study
even
about
when
this.
there's no study at all, and everybody will take you very seriously.
It's similar to how people reference mainstream media, even though, like you said, with the straight,
right?
How there were still ships going through there, and the media was saying that they weren't.
Yeah,
it's the same thing, right? Where somebody, instead of referencing a study, they're like, "Well, Fox News said," or CNN, or whatever bullshit people
appeal to social
authority.
Yes,
yeah. Dude, speaking of which, that actually ties into the other thing I sent you. Did you guys hear about the Stop Nick Shirley Act in California? Dude, this is crazy. So there was
because he's trying to do the same thing he did in Minnesota and California, right?
He needs to do that in Puerto Rico, dude. Seriously.
I mean, if you could list the places
so California has this act now. Who's
this is it. This is the bill right here. They basically put together this legislation that says it's called the Stop Nick Shirley Act.
Is this like a draft? Why
Existing law prohibits a person, business, or association from knowingly publicly posting or publicly disclosing or distributing on internet websites or on social media the personal information or image of any designated healthcare services patient, provider, or assistant or other individuals residing at the same home address with the intent to incite a third person to cause imminent great bodily harm to the person identified in the posting or display, or to a co-resident of that person as specified, or to threaten the person identified in the posting or display, or a co-resident of that person as specified.
So it's basically an extreme fascist bill that they're trying to pass to prevent people from exposing fraud.
So you think that they're getting out ahead of having exposed in California what was exposed in Minnesota, and by making it essentially
illegal.
this kind of investigation illegal?
Yeah, and that's of interest to me, given all the financial stuff I've exposed down in Puerto Rico. But if you extrapolate that and map it onto freedom of speech as a whole, this is a big problem. I mean, I don't know what
this shit is fucking gnarly, dude. Like, having to read this thing, here we go.
This guy, he explains it a little bit better here. It warns that it would restrict the release of investigative videos and impose penalties on watchdogs who expose fraud. I don't really believe in the two-party system. I think they're all just everybody's full of shit, but it is a Democrat that put this out. And of course there's, the backlash from this guy's probably a Republican.
Okay, so it sounds like what they're saying is when he exposes the Somali learning centers, that then creates sort of hostile potential violence against the Somali people. So in order to protect threats of violence against immigrants, here's this act. So
right. Which is totally like a load of bullshit, because the real way you would protect from somebody being harassed like that is to stop the fraud in the first place from happening.
Yeah, or just separately prevent like violence in the way that we prevent assault.
Yeah. Or
in general.
I'm just saying that. Yeah, there's a number of other ways to handle it, but yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at this the other day. I'm kind of interested in how it plays out. You do a lot of investigative journalism, right? You were down in Palisades almost immediately after the fire, exposing a ton of stuff around FEMA. You've done the Puerto Rico thing. What other big ones have you done recently? Well, after going to Puerto Rico, I kind of I shelved the deep dive investigations because it's so much work to look through all just everything, dude. It was also it was fucked up, man. Like, people in Puerto Rico don't have, we met a guy who doesn't have a fucking roof still.
Wow.
He hasn't had electricity for 8 years. It's crazy, dude. You got to watch it. I don't know if I ever sent it to you.
You didn't send me this one.
Yeah, it's insane. In theory, I mean, I can give you the layout real fast. Basically, in 2016, Congress, with Obama's approval, signed off on a financial board that more or less acts like the shadow government of Puerto Rico now. And they've funneled around $2 billion of taxpayer money, Puerto Rican taxpayer money, off the island to Wall Street consultants, executives, and attorneys to consult on the bankruptcy down there, because the whole island is bankrupt. And part of that process is to resolve the PREPA bankruptcy, which is the Puerto Rican Electric Power Authority. It's the government power company. And then it was privatized with this company, Luma, and yada, yada, yada. The power is horribly unreliable down there. It's one of the most expensive in the entire country. And they're basically having money funneled off the island. And they're all more or less connected to Wall Street, but it's crazy. And the reason I bring that up in relation to this is because, the Somalian daycare thing, sure, there's some stuff going on there, but Puerto Rico has been basically getting shit on forever. And I think this is possibly an even worse situation that's going on down there. And they just revoked some Transparency Act down there too recently, in the past 4 or 5 months.
They're going to try and get out ahead of people that are doing investigative journalism.
I mean, that's what it seems like to me. They want it to be more difficult for people to FOIA request stuff, essentially. One of the things they revoked on the Transparency Act down there in Puerto Rico was when you request information, it doesn't show who you are specifically, right? To the people that you're requesting it from, but they're changing that so that they can see. So they'll be like, oh, Gary Faust, the guy that's been talking a bunch of shit about us, is requesting this information. We're gonna, deny that.
Yep.
It's crazy, but this is similar to that, and I think this is actually
you're branded as the Transparency Act, because who can say
well,
no to
it was
transparency?
it was existing legislation that was put into place.
Equals good.
But yeah, this is crazy. I don't even know what else to say about it because not much has transpired. But in my field of work, that would basically prevent me from doing my job.
I have a quote that I love. This is a little more positive. I feel like we've had some conspiracy, some darkness, some getting in trouble.
Good.
I want to bring a little positivity here. All right. So Saw this quote from Blake Mycoskie, who created Tom's shoes. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he has this. He's like, I've had this on the wall of every office. So he says, a master in the art of living draws no sharp distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his education and recreation. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence through whatever he's doing and leaves others to determine if he is working or playing. To him, he always appears to be doing both. And I just like that, to me, has just been a very useful, I don't know, guidepost, or like, oh yeah, like that is the highest calling. If you yourself basically don't differentiate between your work and your play, or, you know, is this something that you have to do, or you should do, or you want to do? The more those blend together and the less you sort of bucket things, I think the more you solve the problem of balance that I think nobody feels like they have. And so I just thought this was awesome, and I'm going to put this up in my office wall.
Well, this seems similar to what Michael was talking about of the childlike thing. You remember on the first episode that we did, and he was he quoted some scripture. He's like, "Be childlike, my children," or something like that. I think one of the problems that you have is working for yourself sounds great because it sounds like choose whenever you want to work. But for most people, what it results in being is just work all the time because there's no one to tell you to stop. And a great idea to think about, if this doesn't feel like play to me, scrutinize it and maybe try and get rid of whatever I can from this particular area of my life. But when you're compelled by, oh, well, I just want to be more successful and more well-known, that is rewarding in and of itself, but it's not the type of reward that you want. So you need to almost be skeptical and discerning in the rewards that you get too. This feels like play, but it might actually be just shallow, juvenile status seeking, or it might be me playing at the game of accumulating money when I already have enough. It's that line from James Clear where he says, if you already live a good lifestyle and you sacrifice it in order to make more money, by definition, it's a bad trade.
Right.
And I think sometimes people are bad at determining what is and is not play, and what is and is not just more like limbic rewards. Does that make sense?
So there's this book that talks that I'm reading. It talks exactly about this, called The Score. You guys ever heard of this book? It's basically it's this guy who's he's a philosophy professor, but he loved games growing up. He always plays games. He uses games as this analogy, and I think in general, a far more important thing in life than being a good player is picking a good game. Because it's very easy to be, you know, you were talking about Joey Chestnut earlier, right? And like, you know,
the philosopher Joey Chestnut.
No knock on him, but like just generally choosing to be a competitive eater, not the best game to play in life, right? Like you could choose many things to try to be great at. There are some that are better and worse. Every game comes with a scoreboard. The scoreboard is very unique in that it basically programs you, it rewires your mind for what you now want. The game dictates what you want. Right? Because it says that's how you win. This is the scoreboard. So therefore, I've implanted a desire.
Changes appropriately.
And then it tells you who you need, and then it changes your identity. Who do you need to be to win this game? So you play Call of Duty, you better be a psychopathic murderer, right? You got to be ruthless. You play charades, you better be a team player, a great communicator. You play poker, you better be great at the art of deception. And so the game you choose will not only choose for you what you want, it'll choose your motivation. It'll end up dictating your identity. Who do you need to be to win that game? So he talks about, like, you know, he became a philosopher or philosophy professor because he loved answering the big questions about life. That's what got him into it. Then he got there and he realized there's a ranking system for the professors nationwide. And how do you go up? So he's a competitive person by nature, like many of us are. So he started trying to win the game. Now he had a scoreboard. The scoreboard said, in order to get more points, you have to write more peer-reviewed published articles about these niche topics. So then he spends 2 years winning that game and then basically feeling miserable because he's like, this is not what he enjoys about philosophy. So he made himself miserable winning the game. And he talks about how there's something called value capture. Value capture is basically when the game gives you the metric that is super simplified, easy to digest, but it may not have been what you wanted out of this. So for example, in we're on YouTube, right? YouTube gives you one big score, views. You can make a life-changing episode that gets half the views of another episode, but it doesn't know how to measure life changing. It just measures views. Yeah. And it's going to keep giving you that metric. And I mean, let's be honest, how many YouTubers don't just respond to views, right? Like it's like a very, very powerful motivation because it's in your face, everybody sees it. And that's the scoreboard that determines success or failure in that game.
We've like spoke about this at hours, and
Yeah,
I
this
think
is one of our favorite fucking.
one of my favorite
you hit one
topics.
of our trap cards.
like there's weirdly part of the thoughts I was thinking about this week was going down like how that Marshall McLuhan line that we like shape our tools, then our tools
Thereafter,
shape
they
us.
shape us.
It
Yeah.
was like this great example of Nietzsche. Nietzsche used to write by a hand, and then his eyesight began to go, so he started to write in a typewriter, and his writing completely changed. He went way shorter, way punchier. Like he almost completely changed as an individual. And I've been thinking about that with a lot of these tools so I would like one of my life hacks at the minute is what I call boom scrolling. So rather than doom scrolling, I go on a treadmill at like 15 incline, 3 in. I've got Share Believe on loop playing. I'm spinning around. I'm having a fucking great. I'm just sending links to people.
Mate, if you are either in his contacts, high on the top of his list of iMessage contacts recently, because he's got massive recency bias, so he only sends it to the people that he can see. And if you're in Lifetime on South Lamar and you walk downstairs and you see him, it's you with something from the 80s, some hair metal or like some like big pop star from the 80s, and he's just furiously sending fucking links to
That's
people.
how social media, I think, is supposed to be consumed. If you're at 130 beats
how it's
per
supposed
minute,
to be.
yeah, if you're at 130 heart rate per minute, you just like forget about like all the like new stuff goes, and I'm just in like these holes like finding stuff. But one of the reflections,
You've managed to find a social media flow state.
yeah, the
That's
flow
what you
state for
said.
social media, boom scrolling, it's coming back. So one of my actual realizations when I was in this high was one thing when you're in like a flow state or when you're more mindful, you begin like a lot of meditators describe it as like the frame rate of reality completely slows down. So it's kind of like going from a standard definition TV to a HD where everything's a bit clearer, everything's a bit slower. And I started to notice this thing in my head that I was really embarrassed about, that when I would scroll, I'd see a tweet or I'd see a post, and there's this little thing in me that just looks at the views it gets and then like determines if I'm going to consume it or my reaction beforehand. And it's almost like, imagine what we've created with this mimetic algorithm. Imagine before you ever heard like a piece of music or you ever tasted a bit of food. It's like people clapping or people going, that's a bit shit. And that's your whole, so you don't actually ever experience social media content. So one of the two big changes I'd like to see is one, could I just turn off all engagement metrics? And I'd be fascinated to run a study and compare the two and see like the impact that would have. And then the second one, because I've thought a lot about this, which is your point, Shaan, around the depth metrics, that it's very hard for us to measure depth. It's very easy for us to measure width. Is right now, one of the problems with social media is you can only kind of pay with a like. Like that's the currency, if you have a thought experiment, if you imagine the world where the only currency was $1, like a $1 bill, and you can't pay more than $1,
Right.
what would you have?
The dollar store
Yeah,
theory.
You'd have dollar store everywhere. Means you wouldn't have Michelin star restaurants. You wouldn't have like luxury brands. You wouldn't have all these stuff that those are actually shit examples because I hate them. But stuff that you would actually want to pay more money for. And I thought even just as simple as like why X don't just implement like a golden like, where I only have one per week. It's completely meaningless, but I have one per week and I press it. And then I can also go on the golden like feed. I can go, this is the thing that Shaan says out of everything he's consumed this week is the best. I think the change you would have in terms of content would be huge.
The worst thing is that you proposed this to me over dinner, 5 years ago or something probably? And I was like, fucking stupid idea. And then YouTube brought in Hype. Have you seen Hype?
No, what is that?
If you're a channel with under 100,000 subscribers, you as a user are allowed, I think you're allocated about 1,000 Hype points per week. And you can only spend it on videos that are high performing. I think it might be videos over 100K on channels less than 100K, something like that. But it's like non-fungible. They're limited, right? So the Bitcoin of your likes.
Right.
And it's fucking great. And I find myself using it on videos that I really want to. Here's a small creator that's nailed it with some great documentary explaining why the Strait of Hormuz is hard to get through, whatever the fuck. And I want to send the Hype thing. Michael Smoke had one video that broke through and I wanted to do it for his thing. So yes, you're right. Other thing, McNamara fallacy. You familiar with that?
No.
Okay, so McNamara was the guy that was in charge of working out what was going on with the troops in the Vietnam War. And his issue was that he was measuring the wrong metrics. So the McNamara fallacy or quantitative fallacy is the mistake of making decisions based solely on metrics while ignoring qualitative unmeasurable factors. Named after U.S. Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara, it assumes that if something cannot be easily measured, it is not important or does not exist. So the issue that the McNamara fallacy had was that enemy body count metric is to taken to be a precise and objective measure of the success or failure of the Vietnam War, which it wasn't at all. It was domestic casualties, domestic injuries, and the far more important, what's the vibe? What's the tone
The morale.
around it? Yes.
The soul.
Yeah, precisely. So the line is, we end up intending to measure what matters, but instead what we can measure just ends up mattering.
Yeah.
And everything else is disregarded. So you could...
Like I say, how, obviously, golden-like idea, like, is there any ways you guys have, like, for yourselves, whether it's for the actual platforms themselves or just for you as an individual, have found a way out of this?
So there was one I heard, I didn't do this, but Hormuz had a thing with this where he starts getting popular on YouTube. And then he hires a team and they're like, hey, let's punch this up. Let's do this video. Let's do this video. Oh, people will love this. Do what you're eating. Do what how you guys met. Do this. Right? He started as a business channel and then he's doing everything. And of course, things that are, there's not a lot of people who want to understand how to do better cold calls in sales, right? There's like, that's a super niche topic, but like, don't be broke is a bigger topic. And then bigger than that is going to be harsh truths about being a man, whatever, right? Like, so those are pop. Those get 2 million views. So why make those shitty 20,000 views about, how to improve your sales funnel or whatever? But he realized, like, well, what was my mission? My mission was like, I love business. I want to share what I know about business. And so what he did was, he started selling his book for 99 cents. And he put it in this bio, right? So he's basically just used the assumption of, instead of measuring the success of these videos based on views, let's just measure it on book sales. It's like, presumably, only a business person, the type of people I'm making content for, would buy a business book about sales or about $100 million offers. Only somebody who liked the video and trusted me more from this video would go and convert. So it's like, let me create my own, it's like people who do their own sampling, like their own polling. Like, I don't know if you heard about this before the election, but there was a guy who made a huge bet on Polymarket that Trump was gonna win. I don't know if you guys remember this. Some French guy made like $50 million. And the reason why was the mainstream media polls were showing like a neck and neck race. And he did what's called like something like the friends and neighbors poll. You can pull this up, Jared. But like, I think the premise was, if you ask people who they're going to vote for, they'll tell you, but like some people hedge, and there was like closeted Trump voters. But if you ask them, who do you think your neighbor's going to vote for? They'll give you a different question, a different answer.
This is like the Keynesian beauty contest.
Yes.
Yeah. And so he used the data he commissioned his own poll, which cost him like a few $100,000 or whatever. And he ended up making $40 or $50 million on a bet because he understood the actual probability of success was far different than the priced odds on these markets.
So what you're saying that Alex did was he found a metric that was more important and more accurate than all of the other metrics.
BYOB. He brought his own metric to YouTube, which he had to hack around, right, to figure out how to do.
James Smith does this. So he's got his business channel, which is the other thing. He basically shut down his main one, which has got 500,000 subs, and he'll put a video up that gets 20,000 plays and make $50,000 because the people that go onto that video are precisely his target market at a high conversion, and they've got some special tracking link that's for each different video. So he knows, this one video, because it's only this link in that one video and it's pinned in the comments or whatever it might be. And he's now optimizing for the outcome that he wants.
That makes sense.
Now, the problem is that you then start to optimize for book sales.
Right.
And what optimizing for book sales, because you're always optimizing for something, unless you're optimizing for vibe or optimizing for feeling. And that's what to break the fourth wall. That's the reason that I wanted to do this. I don't know if these episodes will ever be bigger than me sitting down with McConaughey. I think they've kind of weirdly got the legs to be. But the reason I wanted to do it is because I just thought it would be fun. And I think that optimizing for the quote on the wall of your man, or the childlike joy, or the good hang vibe.
It's knowing when to use metrics, when to avoid them, and then also, then you said then about studies, like how much of this is you, and then how much of this is the wider.
Wait, I have to give you credit. You did this when you released your high agency thing. I was the one who went on SimilarWeb and looked at the traffic to your blog. I was like, dude, there's 1 million people have read your blog. You're like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are your analytics saying? That's what SimilarWeb. He's like, I didn't have Google Analytics in.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it was
you're a marketing guy. How do you not have it in? You intentionally didn't have it in.
Yes. Well, even that bit of advice there of like, do a blog post. Blog posts are essentially the UK or the mainstream media. You know what I mean? Like it's like the ultimate undervalue. Like don't do it. You can't link to it. And at that time, Twitter completely shadow banned links. But then, I think doing something fundamentally different. And this is the challenge of when do you know, and I struggle with this a lot, when you're a bit of a weird guy, which fucking all 4 of us are probably, right? When do you know that you're kind of on to something, you're on the edge, or when are you just a bit batshit mental? And knowing that is a fucking, that's why you got to have good friends, I think. As well as sometimes just balls and you make mistakes.
No, you just ignore. You just always assume you're onto something.
Put the glasses.
You
Put the
just
glasses
always
on and hope for the
100%
best.
assume you're
That's
onto
what
something.
I do. Delusional confidence.
The Lulu is the
This is the
Lulu,
difference.
You know what I mean?
That's our GDP
This
gap
side
right
of the
there.
table and this side of the table.
That's the GDP gap right there.
Yeah,
You think
it's
someone's
Britain
gonna
versus
tell
America.
you if you're onto something? Come on.
Yeah,
Well,
really,
but-
really, it is.
It is. It's
I'm
Britain-
always onto something.
That's what I'm
us, baby.
saying, dude.
Well, like,
Next thing you know, I'm
not
gonna.
too sure. Maybe I'll wait 2 decades.
That's a metacratic society where we've got an old school aristocratic society.
Yeah, exactly.
where
We've
the
been
peasants would ask for
handed down.
permission.
And also the other thing is that we can't raise out of our status. You're going to be middle class for the rest of your life in the eyes of British people. I'm going to be working class for the rest of my life in the eyes of British people. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how many plays I get, how much money I make. When I go back home, they know where I went to school. They know what postcode my parents lived in. They know what my accent's like. It's like, I think that puts a kind of cap on how much people think that how big their dreams should be and how much faith they should have in themselves. This is, Alain de Botton talked about this. He's like, people that come from, in the UK, working class backgrounds, they're probably not going to try and rock the boat because that's not their place. It's not your place to do that. America's like nascent. It's like fucking 2 years old, right? In the grand scheme of things. Right. We got 1,000 years of uninterrupted, uninvaded history, right? Apart from some planes in fucking like August of 1940. That's it, right? And then fucking Rudolf Hess when he decided to try and land in Scotland. Do you know that story? Rudolf Hess,
amazing.
One of gee, do you want to tell it?
You tell it better than me.
Okay, so Rudolf Hess was one of
That
the
was the most English shit ever.
inner.
You want to tell it? No, you tell it better than me. Crack
on. Rudolf Hess was a German fighter ace in World War I, and he then becomes one of the inner circle for Hitler in World War II. He starts to slowly lose favor toward the end of the war. I think 43, 44, he starts to lose favor with Hitler, and he sees himself being shunted to the side a little bit. So he decides that he's going to do something courageous and heroic that's going to save the war and also bring him back into the inner circle with regards to Hitler, because he's got this sort of this group of sycophants around him. He's got Himmler, he's got Goebbels, he's got all of these guys that are around him. And Rudolf Hess has been shunted out to the side. So Hess gets a 2-seat plane, one of the long-range bomber planes that the Germans were using. He gets it modified so that it can be flown by one person as opposed to 2. He gets additional fuel tanks strapped to it, and he flies it without telling anybody in the middle of the night from Germany over to Scotland, because he once met some aristocratic Scottish nobleman and thinks, because he's got this perspective of Brits, that it's all one Renaissance Bridgerton novel, that he is going to know Winston Churchill and the King, and is going to be able to, or the Queen, and is going to be able to petition Britain to have an armistice, to put down their arms. So he leaves a note for the Fuhrer and leaves a note for his wife and just sets off. Now, he doesn't know where he is when he gets to Scotland because it's dark. By the time he gets to Scotland, it's dark, and he can't see where he wanted to land. He can't see the fucking palace or the house of this nobleman. So he just pulls the ejector seat, lands in a farmer's field, very quickly gets picked up by the British military. They find out this is the 4th-ranking Nazi in the entire Reich. Immediately take him into custody. Doesn't get to see the king, doesn't get to see the queen, doesn't get to see anybody. Doesn't get to see anybody at all. Doesn't get anywhere close to the nobleman he meant to go out in there and see. However, the British now have the 4th-ranking Nazi in the world, and Hitler is furious. Absolutely fucking furious. Like apoplectic, apparently. And it just goes to show, I think, like, first off, the weird incentives and the way that people respond to a tight sphere of a social circle with power struggles that keep on going on. It causes people to do crazy. It's being in a relationship with a hot, cold girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. You're just doing fucking insane things. You're like throwing rocks at her window, holding a boombox with a mixtape, and then the next day you're naked, fucking getting, being beaten up by her or whatever. And
I told you that story in confidence.
And the other thing is that people still have this kind of archaic interpretation of what British life is like, especially back in the day.
He should have done a 360 and then moonwalked
out of there.
Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Have you ever heard of the story of Churchill and Hitler getting dinner?
This episode is brought to you by Whoop. According to my Whoop, I've tracked nearly 2,000 days of my life. And the thing that still gets me is that I could have predicted almost every bad day before it happens. That's because Whoop gives you a complete picture of your health every single day. Your sleep, your workouts, your recovery, your breathing, your heart rate, even your steps. And over time, you get to see what's working and what isn't. And the Whoop 5.0 is the best version yet. It's 7% smaller. You get more than 2 weeks of battery life from a single charge. It's got health span tracking to see how your daily habits affect your pace of aging. It's even got hormonal insights for the women that are listening. I'm a huge fan. This thing rules. It's been a huge part of my health journey, and it's why it's the only wearable that I've ever stuck with. Best of all, you can join for free. Pay nothing for the brand new Whoop 5.0 strap, and you get your first month for free, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can buy it for free, try it for free. If you don't like it after 29 days, they just give you your money back. Right now, you can get the brand new Whoop 5.0 and that 30-day free trial by going to the link in the description below or heading to join.whoop.com/modernwisdom. That's join.whoop.com/modernwisdom.
Early 30s, Churchill's very much out of the picture, and Hitler's on the come up. So I think he's either just became chancellor or he's just about to become chancellor. And one of the fascinating things that when you really study history is how blurry it is at the time. So I always use the example of the Roman Empire. I think it's like 476 AD is when the Roman Empire fell. But if you ask, well, when did the people recognize it fell? And it's a bit like, the same with the British Empire. Like, when did the British Empire fall? It's like you could point to certain parts of World War I, you could go further back, you could go to World War II, you could go to the 60s, 70s, whenever you want to go to it. When do people actually recognize the thing? It's always later. And even like Hitler, like Churchill, who obviously ends up becoming Hitler's like nemesis, was intrigued by a dinner with him. So there was this guy called Ernst Putzi Hangelsfagen. You can probably search that one, Jared. And good luck. And he was like a socialite in Germany who wanted to arrange the meeting. And Churchill basically said, listen, he was really concerned about communism at the time, but he was also concerned with Hitler's anti-Semitism. So Putzi says, well, come through. I'll introduce you to Adolf. You guys will get on really well. Churchill turns up. He's got his whole family there and kind of chatting to Putzi. He's still not here. So they kind of have dinner. Hitler's not there. And Churchill's like, where is he? So Putzi goes, leave it with me. So Hitler famously lives in an apartment building in Berlin. So he goes to his apartment building. Shit you not, Hitler's there, just shaving his mustache. So he's just shaving his mustache at the time. Because you've got to, that's the thing about his mustache. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into that thing. So he's shaving the mustache, and he goes, Winston Churchill, very important British politician, wants to meet you. And he's like, what am I going to say to him? What am I going to say? I have no interest in talking to that guy. And Putzi like argues with him for ages. And he goes, right, I'll come. So he goes back, tells Churchill. Churchill and his family sit there. Hitler never comes. So Putzi says, I'll set it up the next day. Sets up another dinner. Hitler never comes. And it's like those moments of history that if those two met, because famously, I didn't realize this until I was reading about it recently, that Chamberlain met Adolf Hitler. He flew over to Germany and he was impressed. Do this, give us a handshake. He was impressed by the handshake because Hitler does these like double handshakes. And he was drawn in by his charisma and believed, this guy will never invade. But it's just this fascinating counterfactual that if Adolf and Winston met, what would have happened?
What year was that?
I want to say 31, 32, around about then.
Fuck. Yeah, that's so cool. Have you seen the Forbes 30 under 30 fraud list?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Jared?
How long is it now?
So it's just, this stinks of you two. This is really something, this is kind of just a gift for you two. But this is the 30 under 30 fraud watch list. So if we scroll down a little bit and you hover over Sam Bankman-Fried, you'll see incarcerated Terraform Labs, incarcerated Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos, incarcerated. We'll keep going down. There we go. Time served for Martin Shkreli. And if you go to the black bit where it's like redacted, just scroll over the black text. The real numbers were 300,000. That's it. Sold a student loan app to JP Morgan for 175 million, claimed 4.25 million users. The real number was 300,000. And she hired a data scientist to fabricate the rest. JP Morgan bought it anyway, then noticed. Oops. If we go all the way down to the bottom, there's actually a risk list. So this is people who've been on the 30 under 30. It's like a how would you say, prototypical algorithm that looks at some of the hype around the market. So these are companies that they think is going to be likely to be on the fraud list. So I don't know any Sphere, Cursor. Do you know what that is, Shaan?
Cursor's super legit.
I would say that's super legit,
I would say Cursor's super legit, but
they're not going to come for you.
The crazy one is Sam Bankman-Fried. It came out today.
Polymarket there.
Oh, Shane.
Sam Bankman-Fried. It came out today that the shares FTX. So Sam Bankman-Fried put an investment in Anthropic that owns Claude.
It would have gotten them out of the bankruptcy.
It's something like that.
No, it's like $60 billion.
$60 billion, which Coinbase is worth $50 billion or something like that. So it's but the
FTX at its peak was 30. So basically, he's one of the. Had he not gone to jail for fraud and had not been using,
would have been one of the richest people on the planet,
and he would have been seen as one of the best investors in the world because he was early in Solana, he was early in this, he was early in.
Do they still have that position, or did they have to liquidate the position?
No, that's the sad part. When they did the bankruptcy, they bring in this guy. I forgot, he's a famous guy. He did the Enron bankruptcy, something Rice or something. I forget what his name is. He's got a cool sounding name. They bring him in. So what do? They immediately like freeze all payments. They like have like a protocol of bankruptcy. And so one of the things is they take all these illiquid shares and they say, we need to sell them. And they sell them at this huge discount right away into the market.
Oh my God.
And so they sold
Do you know what they sold it for?
So they sold the whole lot for like, I think like $1 billion of $1 billion of all the investments that he had made. And so it was like a fraction of whatever it was like worth essentially. And just the one Anthropic position alone is a $60 billion
Would
position.
that have paid off all of the...
multiple times over.
So all of the people who were missing money, had they have just held... When was the FTX thing? 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe.
Had they have held the FTX position in Anthropic simply for what? 1,000 days? 1,000 more? Even let's say it was like they did it was last year, it would have been 3 years. That would have cleared off everybody's debts. Everybody would have got their money back.
Right. Well, you got screwed because if, let's say you held Bitcoin in FTX, you did nothing wrong. You bought Bitcoin on this exchange. You think you have Bitcoin. In reality, FTX either didn't buy the Bitcoin, just took your cash. They showed you own 10 Bitcoin, but you didn't. They never bought the Bitcoin. They just took the cash and did something with it. Or you did have Bitcoin and they went and used it again for their own slush fund of investing, which they were not supposed to do. Now, even when the bankruptcy happened and it's like, oh, you're going to get paid out. You got paid out based on the Bitcoin price when it happened, not the fact that Bitcoin was up 3, 4, 5x since then.
Why is that?
It was like it's the way that I guess the bankruptcy process works. I don't know the technicality of the way that they did it. And so you had this money that should have been appreciating that was locked up, and then you get paid on the 4 years ago price or whatever it was the day that it happened. Is pretty bad.
Shaan, your knowledge of fucking niche business stuff, dude, is terrifying. It's like George for random historical facts. It's fucking terrifying.
Galloway did something cool with this. Have you heard what he did? So when the bankruptcy happened and people, so like for me, I had some cash. FTX was one of our sponsors. They gave us a bunch of money. They gave us like 100 or 200 grand to write one article about them on the Milk Road. And we actually wrote it. And I wrote in the thing, I was like, yeah, there's this weird relationship between FTX, which everybody thinks is the best company in the world right now, and Alameda Research, his like hedge fund. And it's like, it's unclear the relationship. It's a bit of a...
So you called this out.
So I called that part. I'm not an investigative journalist. I wasn't going to go... It's not my job to go figure that out. But I just noted like, hey, like, here's a bunch of really interesting things about them. Here's something that's unexplained. I don't fully know. It sounds a little bit sketch. And so we sent it to them. We're like, hey, we're ready to post. And they were like, you need to take that part out.
No fucking
And
way.
so I was like, well, I think I'm not going to take it out.
Right.
And they were like, okay, we'll get back to you. And they just never talked to me again. They never took the money back. They never asked for the money back.
Huh.
They just disappeared.
And you never posted it?
We never posted it. We were like, okay, I guess they'll get back to us. They just never did. And then it came out that was like this link that was like a really problematic thing.
That was their defensive way of handling that.
Did you ever talk about that? Did you ever
That's crazy.
bring up the fact that you presciently fucking accidentally just nudged the tripwire? You didn't fully break it, but you nudged the tripwire that was going to cause like the biggest banking scandal of the last 5 years.
So the Epstein girls, the two girls.
But I'm like a dog setting it off. I wasn't really like clever in how I was doing it.
You moonwalked into.
Yeah, I was just like, that sounds weird. Is there an explanation for this? They're like, no. And I was like, okay, still sounds weird to me. That was it.
Does this whole, it's really interesting to consider, and it kind of links to the like science says, of we just have this default bias of if people think this thing is successful, kind of, it's this giant game of Emperor's New Clothes that exists.
One of the things that I've always had a bit of a problem with, maybe because I was such an unpopular kid, that the fact that talent isn't enough, momentum is more important for the most part. You know, we can let a lot of people get away with some pretty gnarly shit if it seems like they're crushing it. I always use this example of a Fire Festival. Right? Billy McFarland from Fire Festival. The festival was an entire catastrophe, multiple documentaries made about it. People are in basically FEMA shelters instead of the 5-star huts that they were promised. Blink-182 doesn't turn up. People have got these like small cheese sandwiches. Maybe they're going to be stranded on an island. There's not enough water, all the rest of it. But if Billy McFarland had been able to put together a half-competent festival, just passable,
right,
he would have been hailed as a marketing genius. The Orange Square, all of that stuff was hugely influential. And this is because we will forgive almost every sin of someone's if they're successful. And in a meritocracy, this makes complete sense, right? If you are crushing it, that means that I want to be around you. The blast radius of your success is so great. Fucking canonical, perfect example that happened 2 weeks ago, Kanye West. Kanye West just sold out SoFi Stadium 2 nights. Right? And the stage show is fucking spectacular. All that anyone can talk about is how cool the production was. And he's got all of these guests coming on. It's fucking amazing. He hasn't exactly showered himself in glory over the last 5 years. Right? It would be difficult for a musician to try and torpedo their own musical career more aggressively than Kanye West did. But Homeboy's got bangers.
Yeah.
If you've got bangers, dude,
it's all forgiven.
You can do whatever the fuck you want. And that's on one side what happens with music, your point, and beauty, 2 things that hack the human brain so effectively that you will stay going back to the fucking crazy stripper girl because she's so hot, even though she's bad for you. You will listen to the person who put out literal Heil Hitler song fucking 6 months ago because he's got 3.5 hour worth set of straight heaters. And the same thing is also true with momentum. If somebody seems to be crushing it, we're Sam Bankman-Fried. He's playing fucking, what was he playing? Like fucking World of Warcraft or something?
During the meeting.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking super genius.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no. Because any person would be scrutinized, but if you've got the right momentum, people are happy to just fucking shunt that to the side. And I've never liked it. And it goes to my theory about why people say the only insults that hurt are the ones that you believe. And I don't think it's true. I think the insults that hurt the most are the ones that you know are untrue, but that you fear other people might believe. Because that's optics management. Because you have not only the unfairness, but you have the indignation of knowing that it isn't true. And this is the opposite side of the same dynamic that we're talking about here. You could put out something which is amazingly researched, a fantastic piece of work, but if other people say you're a bad guy, or that was done incorrectly, or we don't think he's cool, it's not going to get anywhere. But that can't happen with beauty because it hacks the human brain. It is so hard to say. You can say that girl or that guy that's very good looking, they're an asshole, they're this, they're that. And you go, yeah, but they're so fucking hot. The same with Kanye West. You can say he's an anti-Semite. We don't like him. He's crazy. He's addicted to nitrous. We don't. It's like, he's got fucking heaters, dude. And for as long as he's got heaters, it doesn't matter.
I do think music and beauty are unique in that regard, that the more successful you are as a musician, the more you can probably get away with, more so than any other realm.
People can kid themselves into not liking something that is objectively good because they don't like the person putting it across in most art forms. If you don't like somebody on a podcast and they tell a really interesting story, you can convince yourself that it wasn't that interesting, other than an asshole. Even comedy, someone can tell a joke and you can be like, no, wasn't that good. Didn't think it was that good. The same thing is not true for music. It is so penetrating emotionally to people. It fucking just cuts through your biases. It cuts through your defenses in a way that other art forms can't. And beauty, especially like female beauty for guys, is just, you can be the craziest, like total cluster B personality nightmare curse. If you're hot, guys are just going to keep coming back.
Wait till you hear Epstein's SoundCloud. I always use the example with Billy McFarland of, like, Steve Jobs is a little bit of a very, very different figure to Billy McFarland, but reality distortion field kind of makes things happen. And like the counterfactual that like the ultimate thing that McFarlane did, or one of the big things, is like his business partner, his co-founder, was Ja Rule. And like I always like the counterfactual, if Steve Jobs' co-founder was Ja Rule rather than Steve Wozniak, like the McFarlane story is very, obviously it's on him for selecting Ja Rule. But if he would have selected a good operator, what would have happened? Yeah, what would have happened?
Question. What businesses would be made better by adding Ja Rule in?
That's a great question.
Have you seen the old thing? What does Ja have to say about this?
Yeah.
One of the all-time old internet memes. There's a phrase that I've been very interested in recently called supernormal stimuli. Have you guys heard this?
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating. Are you familiar with this? You might be able to explain it.
Skinnerian behaviorism stuff.
Yeah, there was a scientist back then. He won the Nobel Prize for this, and what he studied was he got famous because instead of doing studies in a lab, he just went out into the wild. Was like, what do I observe is actually true, and then if I tweak a variable, can I just leave it in the real environment and see what happens? And so what he did was, birds. The core behavior of a bird is to sit on the egg, keep the egg warm. That's your baby. That's like the entire like Darwinian pressure is to keep this egg alive. So he goes, awesome. Bird loves egg. Does bird love bigger egg? Does bird love pink egg? Bird love pink polka dot egg? So he started putting a fake bigger egg with bigger dots and bigger, brighter colors, put it next to it. And guess what the bird does? Gets off its real egg and goes sits on the fake egg because it's more stimulating, hijack the brain. And so his point wasn't like, it's not like some rational pros and cons list decision. Bird just had a deep part of its brain that you could just hijack by changing to giving what he calls a supernormal stimulus. So he would give him a bigger, and he could just keep doing this up till the point where it's almost comical. The egg is so big that a bird finally, when he's like, I can't even sit on this egg. Okay, I guess that's too big, right? And like, you walk around and you'll see people with crazy lip fillers and BBLs, and it's like, what is it? It's a supernormal stimulus. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's like there's a way to hijack the mind, beauty, color. If you go to the grocery store, what do the food companies do? They basically take your normal stimulus. So like, the humans were evolved to, we like salt because we need electrolytes. We like fat for a certain reason. We need certain things in our diet. So they just said, well, what if I give you a lot of salt? What if I give you fucking Doritos Cooler Ranch? What if I give you triple pack Dorito Loco Taco, whatever? And you eventually get a supernormal stimulus that you really can't like resist. Your body has this like an extreme like pull towards it.
My favorite supernormal stimuli is hunter-gatherers eating cheesecake for the first time.
Wow.
Because it is so unique. There's a process called aurification. So aurification is the design of texture of foods. And if you think about ancestrally, almost every food that you can think of is a single texture, right? Meat, cooked, slimy-ish, a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Supernormal stimuli. Let's see how this is getting on. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I'm out on this now. 2 hours
I'm still enjoying it. I think I'm hungry. Oreos. Crunchy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Fries. But what's interesting about the cheesecake thing is that you have fat with carbs and sugar, unbelievably rare. And you have sort of the crunchiness of the base, and you can tell I'm hungry, and the like fluffiness of the top of the cheesecake. And they give these to hunter-gatherers, and their fucking minds, it's a flavor explosion. Wow. But yeah, there's a really great one that I think it's beetles, a type of beetle, dung beetle perhaps, or some other beetle. They're sexually attracted to the shininess of the shell, the shininess of the top. But as glass bottles became prevalent, the beetle population was going down because the glass bottles were shinier and bigger than the beetles were. So they were driving themselves into extinction, not mating with each other and just mating with glass bottles, because that was a supernormal stimuli. And what happens with the cosmetic surgery, the big lips, the big boobs thing, you get something called Fisherian runaway. So Fisherian runaway is this sort of recursive, insane expansion of typically like sexually dimorphic traits, sexually provocative traits. And you end up with peacocks who've got tails so big that they can't move, with deer whose antlers are so large they can't lift their heads up and they die, with women who've got boobs that are so big that they end up with back pain. And, they're unable, let's say that you took it to the absolute extreme, you were no longer able to procreate, the reason for that trait in the first place, but you'd done something that like destroyed your hips, and now it meant that you needed to have like hysterectomy and you couldn't have your uterus anymore, and now you've killed your chance at doing the thing by having it run away with itself. The same as some of those deers or rams where the size of their like antler things dig into their own head and kill them.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Fucking
crazy.
gnarly.
Wow. It's funny how it's kind of like a meta discourse where, you know, you're talking earlier about the platforms and the feedback loops, and then you end up like going so right, but that's kind of nature's
Equivalent.
like homegrown
It's
version.
the same dynamic. That's what you've seen on social media is tapping into this exact dynamic. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just that you've had to replicate it digitally.
There's a great tweet that this guy Jay Alto said. He said, "You pity the moth for confusing the lamp for the moon, yet here you are confusing a screen for the world."
Fucking slammer. It's one of the best tweets of this year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
But there is a
man.
solve, right? Because like you hear this and you're like, "Oh, great, we're fucked." It's like, no, there's got to be some sort of antidote to this. And what the interesting part was, the equation goes like this. It's basically how powerful is the stimulus, so the flavor of the food, the size of the feathers, whatever, versus your baseline norm, what you are used to. And the cool thing is basically like there's this arms race where they keep escalating. So the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Then you need a bigger stimulus and you need a bigger tweet and a bigger TikTok and more views on the next video, and you need a stronger flavor. But all you got to do is basically detox for a very short amount of time and reset. Like if anybody's ever given up soda for like, you know, a couple months or a couple
Georgie's
years,
never done that.
if you go back to it, it tastes like horrible. It's like so syrupy. It's too sweet. You can't handle it. But you used to drink 8 Diet Cokes. And the reason why is because you can reset the denominator essentially instead of trying to avoid the forces of you know, commercialization that are trying to stimulate you.
What's that Cuckfucius Substack that me and you like? You see his staring at a wall experiment?
No.
So this guy's Substack, it's pretty niche, but it's fucking
Cuckfucius.
Cuckfucius.
He's great.
Really well written. You would love it. Fucking
Haven't seen
great. Me and George introduced me to him, and now I'm pretty. His first post that I saw was "I am Andrew Puberman." That was the first. That was the first blog post that I read from him.
Subscribe.
He's doing an experiment. He did an experiment, I think, for 30 days, where he stared at a wall for an hour. And this is kind of a twist on an ancient Eastern practice, which I think Dr. K's got his clients to do as well. And after 20 minutes, some people burst into tears. Some people are screaming. They kind of go a little bit. Yeah, because at least what I think is happening, their baseline of stimulus is so low. Even if you're in the shower, you're doing stuff. Even if you're going for a walk, things are moving past you, right? You're locomoting and you see the fucking world.
But all they're doing is staring at a wall.
Staring at a wall for an hour. I mean, let's see.
You know, it would be an interesting test. Take people that have been to jail and compare them to people that haven't.
Because
that's
they're
basically
so
what
used to
jail
being
is.
bored.
Dude, I was in school suspension when I was a teenager for like weeks on end, and all I did was stare at a fucking wall. It didn't make me go crazy. That's just weird.
Well, I mean, present evidence may suggest otherwise.
Well,
Says the man in the
it was
sailor
just a
hat.
fucking delayed onset, dude.
Wasn't it? There's a few like the most extreme versions of this. You've got I've never fully verified this one, but of monks who've meditated for such a significant period of time are in, I think it's like 3 standard deviations of happiness. So like it's like the 0.00001%. My favorite, and then I'm always a bit like, it's a bit of a study, but I'm like, fuck, this one's not a study, of the guy who set himself on fire to protest the Vietnam War. I don't know if Jared, if you could pull that one up.
the monk.
Yeah, the monk who set himself on fire, who just literally walks out, sits in lotus position, sets himself on fire, doesn't grimace, blink, or flinch.
Make
and at
no
that
noise.
moment, I was like, maybe there is something to meditate.
Studies don't need to show.
Yeah, studies don't need to show.
Photo shows.
I think it's Ken Burns' Vietnam documentary that covers this really well.
You heard about his heart?
Whose heart?
The guy. So this is like kind of a Buddhist philosophy that, or like a Buddhist part of the story, which was his heart didn't set on fire. So his heart was like kind of completely normal. His whole body went to crisp, but his heart was still there. I mean, I think you could check this, Jared, but I think in the cremation period, they tried to cremate his heart and it refused to burn. It's like, it's a very surreal, it could be a complete myth, but
okay.
But as soon as I see this, any of my questions around what the human mind is capable of goes out the window.
Homeboy sat in full lotus just barbecuing anything around him. Yeah, that's crazy.
You can see the gasoline tank there.
There's a guy who's trying the screen experiment. Have you seen this? The guy who's
doing
doing
for a year,
one
right?
year no screens. He's trying to Brian Johnson, but just a no screen, and he's scanning his brain before and after. It'd be very
How
interesting.
far into it is he?
like a day. Like, right? Like he's
He's
just,
just started.
He just
Should've done it at the
He's
beginning
been
of the year.
staring at a wall.
Fuck, he's gone
He finished
insane.
all the things. It's like, I'm going to avoid, this guy, David Daines. Today, I'm scanning my brain before I spend a year without screens. They expect brain function to change, but whether the structure itself changes, nobody seems to know. And he's got his website where you could just like, you're going to be able
Track
to see
him or whatever.
the updates of the results.
Imagine how hard it would be to not. It's like not being exposed to fucking microplastics, dude. He's
Where do you avoid?
he's going to be looking at a screen in an airport. He's
Yes.
going to go to the gym, and there's going to be stuff around. So he's
Oh,
really.
it applies
no,
to that
I
too,
assume-
Yeah,
huh?
no
Oh,
screens.
shit.
I
Anywhere.
assumed
That's
he
his
meant.
goal.
I assumed he meant like phone, TV, like personal screen.
Oh, you
usage
mean he's
versus,
not
like, an
going to
airport?
ever look at any?
I think that's the
He's
intent.
he's
Surely
going
not.
Amish.
If
Is what
it's
it
not,
is.
come on.
That's
man.
pretty
Like, you got to
cool.
go all the way.
I mean,
if
you're
you were
going to
at an
have to have
airport-
fucking blinkers on.
Well, see if you can find the rules of the challenge. But it's pretty unreal.
Hey, what was that quote you said maybe 10 minutes ago about the person that you look at the screen and it's
Yeah, Jay
reality?
Alto's
What did
one.
you say?
Like we laugh when the moth confuses a lamp for the moon, but here we are confusing the screen for the world.
Yeah. Okay. Map that onto AI.
What do you mean?
Just in general, like I don't know, in 50 years, people are going to be like laughing at us because of whatever we were doing right now.
Like we're confusing
Yeah,
AI
yeah,
for
like-
real intelligence, or what do you mean?
I don't really know. When you said that, it made me think of how AI is going to be like, people are going to laugh at us in 50 years for what we thought was good AI. That's what I thought of when you said that for some reason.
Yeah. I mean that curve of technology.
Like they're going to look at us right now in 50 or 100 years, like we're the fucking moth that thinks the lamp is what you get.
Did you guys watch you mentioned
Pull up
Demis?
AI.
You mentioned Demis from
Yes.
DeepMind. Did you watch the documentary?
Yes, it's amazing.
Dude, it's
Unbelievable.
so
It's
amazing.
good.
What is it?
He's got this, the guy who created DeepMind, which kind of kicked off this whole AI wave. He has his documentary on Amazon, I think, called The Thinking Game.
It's on YouTube now.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's
so
got
good.
40
Highly
million plays.
recommend to anyone.
Dennis, if you're listening, I want to bring you on the show. Reply to my emails.
Dude, he's cool. Like, he was like a 6-year-old child prodigy, chess player, etc. But like that moment of Move 37 is just like chills. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like a turning point in human history. Was this Move 37 moment?
Basically, Google DeepMind they seem to be the most safety conscious, kind of very human approach to this AI race at the moment.
Yes.
But I don't know if that the whole point of this, which is why Scott Alexander thinks that Anthropic is the Antichrist, because the Antichrist will come and make you think that they're not. So in this whole AI, that was the whole point that I had with Tristan Harris, is everyone wants to cast aspersions at company like OpenAI. I don't like you because you did this, and I don't like Google because they did that, or Grok, I don't like you because you did the whatever. It's like, hey, dude, it doesn't matter what somebody's stated fucking safety goals are. These guys are speed running through model development as quickly as possible.
Right.
And if they don't, they lose.
They're out. Yeah.
They lose. So just look at the incentives. Don't look at the fucking press release.
Right.
Like, yeah, the Anthropic Super Bowl ads were fucking hilarious. But and they decided not to do the thing for the Department of War, and they did whatever stuff. It's like, dude, don't fucking like get lost in the source. These people are playing the exact same fucking game, just with slightly better PR.
Yeah.
It does seem there's a huge doomer like narrative right now around AI that's becoming more and more popular.
Listen to more Friedberg. That's what you
Yeah.
need to do.
I mean, from the wider question of what happens, I don't know, but from firsthand like experience, like for myself, because the image models are getting so good now, I've had like it's called seborrheic dermatitis for about 10 years. Like sometimes it gets so bad I wouldn't want to like go outside, like level of bad. I just showed it to Gemini.
What does that mean?
So it's basically you're kind of like, there'll be a lot of people listening that have it. It affects like 5 to 10% of the population, and your face will just break out in like really bad eczema. So I went to one doctor who basically got me on a steroid cream and said the reason why you have it is because of stress. It's like quite well known because of stress. Carried on, I started like meditating, like fixing my diet. I basically didn't eat sugar for like 2 years, and it calmed it down. I was like, oh, it's because of sugar. And then I saw a second doctor, and she said, yeah, you're too stressed out. I'm like, fuck, I'm getting stressed out by your guys' diagnosis that I'm stressed out. So she recommends another steroid cream. I end up tracking it for ages, and I just upload the whole document to Gemini, and it goes, oh no, just put Nizoral on your face. So anybody who has subatomic dermatitis, it fixes it for like 90% of people.
And Nizoral is a medicine, or it's like
it's shampoo.
It's a fucking
you can get for-
shampoo.
It's shampoo you can get for a few
it's like
dollars.
Selsun Blue.
And like, I've never had it ever again since. I have 10 years, never had it ever again since. And that's just that. But these stories are like,
Calm
it's
down.
not as sexy as like the guy who speaks to the LLM and decides to take his own life. It's like, not that that's like obviously a horrific story, if it's even fucking true, I don't know. But like, I know just so many people whose like health is genuinely being like revolutionized by these things. And it's just, we just have such an anchor towards negativity.
Also, you're always going to push back against some new technological development.
Yes, it's the most recurring lesson throughout history. Like I was reading, because I was fascinated by with AI coming on, I was like, I want to go study the Industrial Revolution. And what was fascinating at the time, you had two groups that came up. You had the Luddites, who would just basically go and smash the factories in. And you saw this recently with Sam Altman having a Molotov cocktail thrown at his house a week ago. But then you also had the Romantics. So the Romantics would kind of pine about, and you kind of see this now with AI, where it's like they'll call things slop, which are, and there's what you do want the Luddites and you do want the Romantics, because they kind of act as a balancing arc to the progression. But I think like net, most people alive today do not want to go back to pre-industrial revolution. They do not want, like, the option is to go to Amish if you do want to. Like, that is available if you want to go Amish, but nobody does.
Mm-hmm.
I think AI is going to make people go fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're getting to a point where
I was going to say, but Jared, if you can pull up the new thing, I don't know, the FT produced this, I don't know how true it is, but essentially they argue it's making people less polarized immediately, where social media was pushing people further to the left and the right, whereas AI, you can kind of already see it with Grok now, they fact check people a lot more, so they're bringing a lot more people into the center. Well, why do you think it'll make people go
dude,
insane?
we live in a post-truth age now. There's no way to determine what flavor is it.
This is sweet whiskey. You want sweet whiskey?
Yeah, dude.
You're gonna have 2 toothpicks in? That's fucking
I'm doubling down.
Let's go.
Jesus Christ.
What?
There's well, I'm not using them to actually pick my teeth. I'm just
you need so many stimulants that you've got one Newtonic toothpick, one Zippix toothpick.
Yeah, no, and I'm coming down off that Kratom right now.
Just say you quiet fear of that,
in slow motion. I think that deep fakes and maybe it's more so in America than other places, but after the Charlie Kirk assassination, there's all these conspiracy theories left and right about whether it was Israel did it or it's a hologram or this guy was real. Like, there's all this crazy shit, right? And nobody's going to be saying it's something like, oh, this is a hologram or this was AI, without the advent of AI being able to create deep fakes that are largely, I mean, look at boomers, dude. They believe all sorts of crazy shit. And we're like, fucking idiots. Yeah. That's what I was kind of getting at, I guess, with what I was saying to you about that comment. But we're never going to know, I mean, ever what actually has happened with anything we know anymore. Yeah. The truth is no longer even fucking matters because it can't be determined unless you experience it with your own 5 senses.
So there's a great chapter in a book called The Beginning of Infinity, and essentially his idea is what's known as the precautionary principle, which is essentially the history of humanity is essentially problems. Like, we start, like, even Great Britain, like where me and Chris are from, is just is this human concept. Like, it shouldn't exist. Like, in Great Britain, me and my family should fucking die of hypothermia. But because of, like, we created central heating, we created clothing. But so we essentially have this whole arc of just problem solving. And the problem that you then have, ironically, is that when a new problem comes along like this, is that you have what's known as the precautionary principle, which is we can see the problem, but we can't see the solution. But by definition, human beings can't forecast a solution, because if we had the solution for it, we would implement it and be worth trillionaires.
You would
But what you end up having is kind of 7 billion people working towards this potential problem. You saw it with COVID. Like, it's very unsexy to say, but I'm pretty optimistic when it comes to humans' abilities to solve problems. I think like a lot of this stuff we can fix.
Speaking of AI, did you see this Allbirds pivot?
Oh, dude, it's insane.
Can you explain for the class, please, what the fuck just happened?
Allbirds, which was like a popular shoe amongst tech guys, at least. I don't know how popular it got outside of that, but it was like a niche shoe. It was like a wool sneaker. They were like, started small, became a public company, but then they started failing. And so, like, the stock has been going down for years. I think they were last, like, you know, they were at one point like $1 billion company. They were like $50 million company now. So the stock had been falling. And there was really no path. And so these guys bought it, I think. And I think what they did was they purchased it and they just pivoted to AI. And it's like, well, how does a shoe pivot to AI? What does that mean? They're like, well, we raised all this debt. We're going to buy GPUs and sell them. And the stock, like, as of this morning, is soaring. I don't think this is a sustainable thing, but the stock
company
is up
valued
by
at around $4 billion at its peak, sold the intellectual property and other assets 2 weeks ago for $39 million.
39 million, yeah. And then they renamed it like, what, Freebird or something? What did they name it?
The shoe company had a market cap of $21 million on Tuesday, which climbed to $148 million on Wednesday.
Wow.
Just by saying, we
The
do
words-
AI.
The words AI. And then
We are
this
going
happened
to
during
do
crypto.
AI.
There was like a iced tea company that was like, yeah, we're an iced tea company, but we're a blockchain iced tea company. And then there was tons of these companies. They would just change their name. They didn't even change the underlying business. They just changed the name to like, blockchain motor controls. And then their stock would pop just because of
Yeah, dude, the
stupidity.
1 day price move is 582%.
Yeah, it's stupid. There's stupid things that happen. There's like, the efficient market hypothesis, and then you hear this, right?
Yes,
Like,
I saw somebody putting like the intelligent investor in the bin. It's like giving up on this. Yeah.
speaking of AI,
complete meme
did
wolf.
you guys see, this kind of blew my mind. This is more in the kind of fear and doom stuff, but did you see the Indian factory AI thing? Did you see this? James,
whether training people with the cameras?
headset.
Yeah,
So-
to fold clothes and shit.
They're sewing shirts. They're basically folding towels. They're doing shirts, but there's giant factories now in India where the primary function is you're paid to wear a head camera, and it just films you doing a task. And they're basically creating all the training data for the robots. Like the humans basically
What?
creating the training.
Yep.
You're not, Jared, pull this video up. It's just kind of striking when you see it. It's like, it feels like a Black Mirror episode.
Do you know how Tesla made its self-driving so good? Do you know how it was trained?
With a human?
Yeah. So
So these guys are just working, and these guys have like neck pain and all this stuff because they're wearing this 8 hours straight.
hey, Shaan,
on their head. There's like there's a company that's basically making a lot of money creating this data and selling it back to the AI labs, which is pretty wild. And Elon actually, he gave this interview. He said something that nobody really has talked about, but I thought it was pretty batshit crazy. They were like, well, the next thing for Tesla is not cars, it's his robot. They're like, how are you going to train the robot to do all this stuff? You don't, like, for cars, you got the data because humans were driving the cars. So you were able to learn on millions and millions of miles. How are you going to do it with the robots? He's like, well, we're building this, 100,000 square foot warehouse, and we're going to put 10,000 robots in there,
Oh my
and
God.
they're going to self-play. So he's like, so if you
What?
watch like how they trained the AI to beat like Go and chess, there was one way, which was you have grandmasters tell hard code rules. Okay, what's better than that? You train it on only grandmasters game logs. And then they did this thing called Alpha Zero, where they're like, we're just going to tell you the rules of chess. You play yourself 100,000 times, see what happens. And that became better than all of the other models with no data of how to play chess or how to play Go. And so Alpha Zero was this huge breakthrough when DeepMind did it. So now Elon's trying to do the same thing with robots, where he's like, yeah, we could do this, where we get all the data from like human people, like recordings, or we could just create a warehouse where we tell them the objectives of the different stations, and then we let them just like fumble around trying to figure out like how to use their arms, and like eventually they're just going to figure out. He's going to put 10,000 robots in this box. I'm like, I would pay so much money to watch
You
this
could fundraise
live stream.
well, the fucking what was that?
It's better than
Was it
Netflix.
Neo? Is that the at-home robot? What was the one that's made of kind of knitted? It
Yeah, I
looked
think
like
Neo is the name of it. Yeah.
Neo. So this was an at-home assistance robot. There was 2 versions. You could buy it outright. You could rent it. I think to rent it was actually quite expensive. Was it $300 a month, something
not
like
sure,
that?
yeah.
$400 a month. And someone videoed their Neo trying to close the dishwasher. And it looks like someone at the end of a party on too much ketamine trying to do the same thing. It's all sort of janky and it's going down and it just cannot close this fucking dishwasher.
That reminds me of iRobot.
Yeah.
You remember that movie?
Yeah. Will Smith, classic.
And that he has the live-in robot, and he's like, I don't trust this fucking thing.
Well, the way that the Tesla training data was done was that they took the top 5%, 1% of drivers and basically said they're going to drive on our behalf, because the self-training thing has to be harder when you're talking about the physical world.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the parameters of outcome, success, and failure are way harder to work. Like, is this folded right? Like, there's a million ways that you could fold it. It turns out like it's one of those fucking origami. It's a swan. It's a goose, and you don't want that. It's nice and beautiful, but it doesn't fit the parameters right. So more oversight, or at least like a base training data of like, hey, here are some of the, because what are the rules of the game of folding clothes?
Right.
They're kind of. It's kind of strange but once you've got this raw training set, but this is the fight. This does feel a little bit like finishing off the champagne on the Titanic. It's like we're going down, and we'll just on the way down, I'll make a little bit of extra money from doing this thing. To round out, George, good news about your dad. Phil Collins is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2026
Let's go.
inductee.
There we go.
Any idea what your dad said in response? Very British response, this. Obviously, I'm pleased and honored to be inducted. It wraps up what has been a wonderful life in music. Obviously, I'm pleased sounds a little bit passive-aggressive.
Yeah. Took a while till 2026 to get this.
Obviously, I'm pleased and honored to be inducted. It wraps up what has been a wonderful life in music. Boys, this has been fucking sick. Appreciate you all.
All right.
Unreal. Phil Collins, George's dad.
Let's go.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
I've never seen Phil Collins.
Oh, you've never seen it? Wow.
My first time
Damn.
ever seeing Phil Collins.
Bro, so much fun.
One last swig.
Have it.
I mean, this just
gotta
looks...
pee again.
Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that episode, another one that I know you love, it's just here.